you don't like discipline. You prefer inspiration.
Yeah.
Explain, like, what does that mean, and how do you actually use that?
I don't
daily?
think discipline is sustainable. I mean, I know it's sustainable if you're a Navy SEAL and you have to deal with being uncomfortable for a long period of time. Nobody can sustain that ultimately. Every time I meet somebody who's really intense, I see these fucking sales guys. This guy, I don't care his name is, but he's jacked and he's on all the supplements. I'm jealous of his body, but he's like, I don't get tired. I do not get tired.
I don't.
I'm like, hey, bro, this Adderall is kicking in right now. I get it, but good luck with that. Like, stop it and shut up. You know, like you can't do that. It's good if you're a young man and you want to get off your ass and come up with a game plan. Cool. But once that caffeine rush or Adderall wears down, you're going to have to, success is consistency over a long period of time. And you better be inspired. You better get to why you're doing it.
Why? How do you get inspired? Like, what does that look like for you?
I've always been interested in potential, right? So I want to know, I love the idea of you don't know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
I use this expression, which is your best self is clearing his throat in the other room, right? You're fucking up over here, but you should be doing something else because you could be so much better over there, right? When you get up to heaven or wherever it is, and God's got your entire life on a piece of paper, like looking at you with that same expression your dad used to have when you get your report card, right? Totally. I want him to be looking at me going, hey, you did your best,
100%.
You did a good job, or hey, you reached,
Yeah.
I grade on a curve. Come on in.
It's so funny you say that because I am obsessed with this Emma Bombeck quote. Have you ever heard it? It's when I stand before God at the end of my days, I hope that I can say to him, I have not one drop left. I used everything you gave me. And that for me, now she was kind of a crazy feminist person, but the quote totally, a lot of times, like you, for example, I mean, God, I was looking at your resume. It's wild. It's like you've acted in all these huge movies, like, Hangover 2, Ride Along. You've done all these incredible TV shows. You've done the full gamut of like acting, and then you decided to get into comedy, which I want to talk about too. But a lot of people will probably say like, all right, you could have been good. You made plenty of money. It doesn't happen as much in Hollywood. I feel like people just keep going.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you make money, they go, why don't you just like, why do you need more?
First of all, nobody makes money. I love this. Most people think like actors are set.
Yeah.
And my favorite. Like I could tell you, you would be so blown away.
Okay, tell me.
At how many household names
don't have on
less than $1 million in the bank.
Hi, welcome back to the Big Deal Podcast. I'm Codie Sanchez, and this is for those of you who don't want to just be rich, but free and do what it takes to get there. Okay, this week, Bryan Callen, oh my fucking God, so good. I was on the floor laughing this entire podcast, also learning things that I never expected to learn. If you don't know Bryan, he has been an actor and a comedian for decades. You might have seen him in The Hangover 1, The Hangover 2, Ride Along. He had Mad TV. He is on Joe Rogan constantly. In fact, he left my podcast today and went to Joe Rogan afterwards. Bryan is an incredibly skilled actor and comedian with a huge Netflix special that's going to be coming out. Without further ado, let's get into Bryan Callen and apologize for the hyena cackle of mine you're going to hear often. Although sometimes they call it a donkey bray. You could really take your pick. Also, you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do. And this week, we just went right into this bad boy. There's no like, hi, Bryan. Hi, Codie. Thank you for coming to the podcast. We just roll. So tell me if you like that this week, will you? Will you tell me in the YouTube comments and also let me know on the actual podcast? Okay, off we go.
It would blow your mind. You'd be like, what? Yeah.
Also, I think there couldn't be anything worse than being famous and poor.
There are plenty of them out there.
That's tough.
There are plenty of them.
Are people ever weird around you because you're funny and so then they try to be funny? Like I got a little nervous when you came over. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell a joke. I'm not funny naturally. Stop telling jokes.
It's not true though. It's like humor is, are we rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, humor's how we, if you think about humor, there's an intimacy to humor, right? Mm-hmm. So typically you can, a lot of times mark a lot of the great moments in your life with how much you are laughing with people.
Yeah, that's
especially
good.
Your friends. And I think something about laughter is, it's a little bit like taking the whole chessboard and throwing it in the air. But by the way, don't underestimate how important it is to be able to laugh.
Yeah.
A guy like me, if he's around somebody and they are connected and they're really laughing,
Yeah.
that's incredibly, that's also amazing. That's a form of, I'm having an effect on you and you're having an effect on me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a lot of people feel really insecure when they're around a comic. I can't be funny like you guys. He can.
Yeah, that's got to be a normal interaction, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. And probably it lessened once they're actually around you. Then they're just like, oh, okay, it's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think you can always be funny. My default is probably funny because it's a way of coping with the chaos and enormity of life. And maybe the fact that part of what's hard about life in some ways is you can do everything right, plan everything to the nth degree. And I promise you, most likely you will be derailed because it's just how it happens.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to happen that way. But the way you can cope with that is to, not take yourself or it too seriously.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a big Alan Watts fan. Do you know Alan Watts?
Watts,
Oh, God,
but,
yeah.
I mean,
Like, do you ever listen
he studied the Vedanta, That's why I always said, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Buddhist. Alan Watts was always somebody who talked about cultivating the witness, right? So you're not your mind, you're not your emotions, you're not your body. You are that observer, and that sort of, so whatever happens to you, you can actually embrace. Don't resist it. I love when he said something to the effect of, you can't improve yourself or the world. That's a hard thing for especially Western people to hear. Because we have improved the world. We have manipulated our environment.
Yeah.
But in fact, if you were to come in and try to make everything right in this room and turn everything top side up, there'd be a top side down as well. And it's a beautiful way of doing it. Like the part of you that wants to improve yourself is the part that needs improving. So you're in this circle.
I love talking to my friends on this podcast about how they made their millions, how they became owners, how to solve their problems. And I love sharing these talks with you guys because I think that's how we get rich together. But when I can't meet in person to do this, there's one tool I use, Riverside. Riverside ensures I can talk to anyone, anywhere, record it in high resolution, and have a quality video that I can share. And if that's not cool enough, they've got an AI platform where they can actually do show notes, summarize your content, add SEO required descriptions, and it's all programmatic. So you can do what Riverside does and use it for interviews, presentations, podcasts, and more. I love it because I don't have time for complex. That's why we use this technology. Because when I get a deal, you get a deal. If you guys want to use Riverside, go to the link in description and use the code Cody and you get a deal too. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah. Do you ever listen to he has like these great little Spotify playlists where people put like lo-fi beats to his stuff. Yeah. That's how I know I'm like middle-aged. I'm listening to like self-help while I'm listening to music.
But
that's not great.
Yeah. That's what you get to. I think that you start to realize that accomplishment and, if you get whatever attention and status, whatever the things you do, when I was 53, I think 52, I drew a line through sort of everything that I had come to LA to do. It was kind of cool, right? I did this, and you better be careful when you do that because it's not actually, when you get to the top of that wall, whatever it is that you set for yourself, you're going to realize that there's got to be something more. You somehow need something to push against. Yeah. If you take away what you have to push against, this is this is a bit trite, right? We've heard this 1,000 times, but I don't know, man. I think the reach is more important.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same thing with money. People always go, nah, actually, like happiness doesn't increase materially after about $500,000 a year in income. And when I was young and I heard that, I thought, I'm going to fucking try. Like, let's just see. Like, let's see what happens. And then you do get, I don't know if I believe the $500,000 mark, actually. I think there's like a few more levels of the game. But like, you can't hear it until you get there. And then you might be able to understand. I always like the Alan Watts thing where he's like, I don't know why it fucked me up so much, but remember when he talked about how he's like, think about life like music or a song. Like, what if we listened to music and we were just like, the point is like to get to the end of that song. Like we just wanted to get there as fast as possible. Then we go to a concert and the concert would just be like a cacophony of noises until like as fast as possible it was done. That would be silly. That would be so silly.
Yes.
And he's like, that's how we are in life.
He also said if you were to achieve enlightenment, let's say you just were to achieve this thing, this elusive goal called enlightenment, you'd be right here, right here in the same place. Nothing would change. That's an important concept too.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and I think that, I think about that a lot. You can make a lot of money. Good for you. I know people who've got a lot of money. And you will buy a lot of safety and comfort. And I had this thing, it's part of what I'm writing about in my special, which I'm going to shoot actually at Rogan's Place in January. So you got to come by.
Absolutely.
And it's about, I don't think the Garden of Eden was paradise. I think the Garden of Eden was a form of hell, which is why there was an apple, which was why there was an escape portal, which was that snake and apple. Because I don't think you'd want to be in a garden where nothing could kill you. Where nothing, the only reason you want to ride a motorcycle really fast is you might fall and lose all the skin on one side of your body. Sorry. The only reason you'd rather pet a tiger over a cow is the tiger might turn around and bite your face off. That's exciting, right? Everything is that way. And if you take away that struggle, so, the idea that she bit the apple because she was a sinner, she would probably call it an escape. Get me the fuck out of here because I need to not know what's around that corner. That's called adventure. Yeah. And if you have no adventure, you have no fun. So that's kind of and if you make a lot of money, if you do it all right, and you hit every marker for yourself, and I'm going to quote my friend who studies in Vedanta. He said, "You can hit every goal you set for yourself and ruin your kids' lives."
Oof. And
to extrapolate on that, if your kids have never flown commercially, you're probably going to spend a lot of money on rehab later on. 100%. Ain't that the bitch?
Well, and also, a lot of times these days you see these really successful, quote unquote, successful people, and their kids are fucking nightmares. And you're like, how good of a human are you if you had like sort of one real job in life, which was you brought this person in. Like that's kind of your fault one way or the other.
It's so hard though.
Do you have kids? This says from somebody who has 0 kids.
I have 4 kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard because it's the handicap of wealth, right? I grew up. The way I grew up was my father made some money, not a lot, but he was a banker and other things. And I grew up all over the world, and I grew up in the 70s in the developing world. So I was born in the Philippines. I lived in India, in Calcutta and Bombay. I then moved to Lebanon and then Pakistan and then Lebanon again. And I was in the war. And then we were evacuated to Greece and then Saudi Arabia. Now, in that time, we also traveled to, places like mainland China, all over Africa, East Africa, actually, I shouldn't say all over. And places like, I said Yemen, but mainland China, Yemen, Africa, Syria, everywhere. I went everywhere.
Only the nicest
And what
places.
I saw was real poverty. Yeah. People who are on the losing side of history. But guess where I saw it from? From behind the pane of an air-conditioned car, the glass of an air-conditioned car. I was protected by these United States. I was an American citizen, a white kid with blonde hair. And I saw kids my own age begging. I saw, when I was in Kenya, we were in the countryside, and I gave somebody, I hated my lunch. We had these box lunches. We were on safari. And I gave it, and they tore it. They fought over it. Oof. That's humiliating for me. That's because what happens is you're so embarrassed by how lucky you are for no reason. You're so embarrassed by the fact that I knew even as a kid, I was like, I've never had my belly empty. And I'm seeing real poverty, I saw leprosy. So, people your age have never seen full-blown fucking leprosy in a marketplace in Damascus. I have. I saw that stuff with my own eyes. And when I say that, I'm talking about somebody with no nose and no fingers, with advanced leprosy. I saw that. I walked by that in the bazaar. I saw people with elephantitis because they didn't know what to do. So I saw these advanced diseases as a kid. I saw them. I smelled it. I was right next to it. And I saw, and when you walk through a souk, when you walk through a bazaar, in whether it's Pakistan or in, and I was very young, or in Syria, or when you're a very young kid and nobody gives you context. I remember I think I was 14. I went to Russia when I was 18. and I was with my friend who spoke Russian. We were in Gorky Park, and this is when it was a communist country. Everything was monitored, but I stole away. I hooked up with this beautiful girl named Svetlana. I'll never forget it. It was so awesome. I was 18 years old.
Did.
Had sex with her and her friend. At 18, I'm not kidding. And like her and her friend, Christina. And my friend was like, oh, he was all like, oh, I was like, I was. They were like 21. It was in the Cosmos
like
Hotel.
Russian agents.
Crazy story. Yeah, whatever. Put me in Siberia, bro. It was the greatest. 18 years old. I was like, it was incredible. But I remember being in Gorky Park with these Russians, and they were asking me in Russian because my friend was able to interpret. They were asking me what kind of cars there were. I gave the kid my Nikes and my blue jeans. Wow. And they were like, they couldn't believe it. Like it was like currency. The same thing with mainland China. When I was there in 1981, I was 14, I think. And I remember everyone was in a blue pants and blue shirts, and they had the same haircut. And they were all on bicycles. Because with Mao and the communists, they wanted to get rid of category, right? I saw that stuff. And so, again, you know, you get to go back to the United States, you get to go back to wherever you are, where you're safe, where you have representative government, where you don't have to worry about a knock on the door, you never have to worry about where your food's coming from. You never have to, most importantly, see how humiliating it is for your mother, your father, to not be able to feed you and the family, to not be able to kind of like even speak their mind. I never had that. My father was my hero because he was an American and he was able to say whatever he wanted, and he had money, and he was able to, it's like this. The best way to put it is this. I grew up in a part of the world where you had to forego who you could be for who you had to be. Yeah. And I'm quoting Daryl Cooper now because he said that in a podcast I listened to, so I don't want to take credit for it. But I thought about that a lot, and that really, that creates a lot of guilt in you and a lot of shame, you know?
Is that?
And it should probably. I don't know where we were going with this, but
no, what do you
were
think?
Talking about.
Well, it's interesting because I sometimes think that maybe the reason why we had that whole white privilege movement where we were shaming children for being white and American. Yeah, I think it's really perniciously.
Most white people are not privileged.
Exactly, but I think that it was a little bit based on some of the people had these ideas. They're like, well, I've lived this way. I've never had hardship, and I don't know. I'd be curious your take. Part of my thought there is like, I don't know, instead of being guilty and shameful, why don't you do fucking something with what you got? Like, did you?
Yeah, I that's how I.
That's what you did.
I've never. Yeah, I mean, no. Listen, what I did is what's good about having historical perspective and perspective in general is you go, I'm lucky. I get to make a living with my imagination. I get to do something called original self-expression and make money. Yeah. I mean, what are you talking? And I'm not going to do that. That's why I work so hard. That's why, like I don't want to die thinking I didn't mine everything I could. This next special is the best fucking thing I've ever done in my life. The best. And I can't wait. But it better be. Yeah. It better be.
So what actually made you go from acting to comedy? Because now Netflix special, you're on tour right now.
Yeah,
what's
I mean,
the change?
I just loved. I mean, you know, I've never been on set where I didn't want it to be over. It's a terrible thing to say.
Really?
It's acting is like piecemeal. It's just piecemeal, man.
Like lay it out. Like what does it look like?
You're doing it a page at a time. Oh, so watch this. Watch this. I'm going to do a scene. Ready? Let's do a scene. Okay. All right, action. You got to give me my money, my friend, or we're going to have a problem. Cut. Brian, can you, when you bring the coffee, you're blocking the light. Can we get a different light over here because he brought the coffee? Just can you bring it down and then swoop it up? Yeah, I got it. Okay. Action. We got a problem, my friend. Looks like you owe me some money. Huh? Okay, Brian, cut. Can you don't say it into because the mic it's getting you said it into the coffee. Could you say it this way and then take a sip? But it's important you take the sip because we want you to savor it, but there's a little alcohol in it. Fuck it. That's all day.
That's
all
awful.
Day. There's a shadow on her face and also her hair is different. You see how it's doing this? Can we? Yeah, come on in. That's what you do all day. I'm not kidding.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's why actors drink.
Yeah.
It's like, get me the fuck out of here. You know?
Why do you think so many people like it then?
Because it's so hard to get there.
Yeah. You're like, I tried so hard.
And then once you're there,
it's miserable. We're here.
Yeah. Well, it's not only hard to get there; it's hard to sustain. Yeah, it's hard to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Like I think Jay Leno said, like no one is in first chair for more than 6 years.
It's such a great point. Yeah, especially women. I think we're like 2.5.
Oh my God! Once you lose your delicious scene, it's awful.
I'm way past the
Katharine
hill.
Hepburn talked about that. They all talked about that. You win an Oscar, they don't. It's adorable.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
where's the next young?
And there's so many beautiful women, especially today. Like maybe it used to be
talented.
enough if you were. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's super. Okay, so you went into comedy and I think I heard you talk about how Joe Rogan was one of the people that was like, "Hey, get into comedy, do stand up."
Well, I had been doing stand up.
Okay.
But then I was acting, and I wanted to be Robert De Niro, or I don't know who I wanted to be.
Interesting.
I loved that. I was pretty good at it. Like I did a lot of theater, and I loved it. And and I worked really hard at acting. Like I was in class for years and really doing plays and theater and working on scenes, and
I'm just picturing you like dancing. So like,
and I took
you're
dance,
leaping.
and I took voice, and all that horseshit. Yes, I went to formal theater school in New York City.
I don't know why I find that
when
funny.
I'm a thespian, you understand? This is the reason I speak this way. I drop my jaw, and I'm really good at expressing myself. And that's how you used to speak. It was called the Skinner technique, of course. And you weren't English, but if you ever listen to William F. Buckley or Katharine Hepburn, there's something about them that's almost English.
Right.
Yes.
Well, Alan Watts. Is Alan Watts English?
No,
but he talks the
English.
same.
He was English.
Oh, fuck. Well, he was actually
English.
real.
He was British.
Okay, he
Right,
wasn't.
well, William F. Buckley, of course, spoke this way. I mean, if I would actually romance your argument in the real world, which I would never do, but I will here for sake of I suppose the cameras. It's like, oh, dude, you're. But that who talks that way? Ann Coulter. She still has a little bit of a because the British if you came over the Mayflower or that was very
and
important.
the chin thing.
Yeah, there's certain things that's stiff. It's very British.
Also, you know what I've noticed, which I probably would get in trouble for, but now we're doing like a few things. We just signed with an agency and for like a book tour and stuff, like nothing fun or real. But why do all Hollywood agents sound the same, even if they're like from Jersey or Florida? There's like a Hollywood agent voice. Yeah. Have you heard that? I'm not going to try it because I'm terrible at accents. Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about? Like they all kind of have like a weird...
It's probably because they're all originally from New York, or they used to be.
Oh, you think that's why?
Now they're from LA. But
okay.
Typically in remember, Hollywood was a Jewish invention. Okay? Yeah. You know, when people are anti-Semitic, I'm always like, all right, that's cool. But you do know that improv, stand-up even, to a large extent, but certainly improv, and certainly Hollywood, like movies, it was created and founded by really East European Jewish refugees.
I didn't know
So
that.
was the whole garment industry.
You knew that.
Right? So there were certain things. So when you were an agent, you were typically like you were a bit of a rebel. Your mother, if you were probably from Brooklyn, and your mother said you're going to be, you're going to either have your own business, you're going to join your uncle or your father's business, you're going to take it to the next level, you're going to be a lawyer, or you're going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a cop.
No.
You're not Irish. You're not going to put your money in a mattress. You're not Italian. We're going to put it into a business. You got, and a lot of the Jewish refugees were they could sew. They were garmentos. So that's why they came to New York. But the larger point is that there was if you were a bit of a black sheep, you went to Hollywood, tried to be an actor, played an Italian gangster.
Wow.
You were a producer when you realized the acting wasn't where the money was, or it was hard to do. You're like, maybe I can put people together. Or you became an agent, right?
I don't know that.
But certainly a lot of the great comics, all that Sid Caesar and Rob Reiner, why were they comics? Because in that culture, in the Jewish culture of New York, kids were indulged. If you're British and you're of the aristocracy, you're seen and not heard.
100%.
When you're a Jewish kid in the Lower East Side and your whole family's crammed into a tenement, you're there and your voice is as loud as any adult's. You can talk back to your parents. You can make everybody laugh. That was the Marx Brothers, right? So the larger point I'm making is that traditionally the agents that were all in Hollywood were Jews. They were Jewish. And they all came from kind of the same part of New York, same ecosystem. So, like Robert Evans, they spoke a certain way.
Yeah, they've got a vibe.
There was just a way. It's just business. What do you know? There was a way of doing business. There was a language, and it was really mostly New York. People are always shocked with Donald Trump, with the way he insults people or the way he's politically incorrect with his words. That's fucking New York. Yeah, that's construction site New York.
It
doesn't matter that he was a blue blood. He's also Irish and with German, so he wasn't necessarily like that British thing. His dad got his hands dirty.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was joking with Tanner the other day, our creative director. Like, thank God we're in the era that we're in now. Maybe it helps that I'm a woman and I'm Latina. That's like a double check box.
Are
but
you? Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I'm white presenting, But it's helpful.
I present female.
Yeah.
And white.
Yes, exactly. If I could do an accent, I would do that. But the stuff that we even say here, because we run a bunch of laundromats and car washes and roofing companies. So half the time I'm like, I'm not supposed to say that anymore. If that was on the internet, I'd be in a lot of trouble. Which kind of like actually makes me think about. So the other day, you can be my therapist. The other day, I gave a speech. Like, doesn't matter, to not a small, a couple thousand people, but
it's a lot of people.
And I fucking bombed. It was like, I've never done that before. I did a really bad job. I was like, over time, I don't even know what happened. And like, there was no reason really. And like, what's interesting is like, it didn't matter. Like, no. I wasn't going to die. Nothing mattered. But the reaction that I had from it was totally unreasonable. I was like, oh, fuck, that was terrifying and awful and the worst thing ever.
That's okay.
But have you had that happen with jokes and stand-up?
I haven't, Cody. I'm really good.
You've never bombed ever?
No, I'm joking. Of course.
And did it feel awful?
Yeah.
And does it still?
I mean, I've been doing it so long that I got my bag of tricks, right?
Okay.
So it's not going to...
So now you pull a rabbit out of
It's not going to... I'm not going to ever do an hour where you're not going to laugh.
Yeah.
Where's my camera? That was obnoxious. Let me rephrase that. What I meant is that I'm never going to do an hour where you're not going to laugh.
Yeah.
Hard. Really hard. Is that my camera?
That should be your special clip, actually. We should cut that. I'm going to do a video for you and do a little Instagram reel for your special. And I think that'll be really good.
That's good.
But in the beginning, like, do you remember the first time you really bombed?
Oh my God. It's so terrifying. I don't know if anybody, this is how you equate it. If you've ever been in a real fight, like where you don't know who the guys in front of you are going to be, like you can't feel your legs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how much you train. I mean, maybe if you're like inoculated stress. If you're a regular dude like me and you're going to have to fight, you can't feel your legs. You just know, I'll put my weight on my back foot and I guess here we go. Good luck. It sucks. It's the same thing. I remember feeling that. I remember feeling that. It was like, I feel like I'm about to have a real fight with somebody I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to kill me. I don't know who he is. I don't know if, you know what I mean? That feeling of, and then you do it long enough and that just completely goes away.
Yeah.
Like when I shoot my special, I won't be, I promise I won't be a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in hitting every mark, I suppose, hitting every beat.
Yeah, well then you get
I want to say what I want to say and I want to be thematic about it, right? Not that anybody will watch it through because we don't. We all have TikTok brain now.
Yep.
But for me, that's my diary of what I think is important, what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like you can't bomb hard enough for the audience at a certain point because you got a base level that's quite good, but for yourself, you're just competing against yourself.
What I would say to you, though, maybe the way to avoid that in the future is to really dial down on what you're saying. Sometimes when we're not quite sure, we get into this gray area. Yeah. And it feels like, I didn't see the speech, but it feels like when that happens, just take a look at whether or not you've really carved down to its essence what you're trying to say. What is your philosophy? What are your principles behind business, if that's what you're talking about? What are the mistakes people make, and what are the shortcuts you can give people so they don't have to make the same mistakes? I always say I'm older, right? So the reason you should listen to me is not because I'm smarter. I'm really not. I'm not. But I have made more mistakes than you have, and I've wasted more time chasing the wrong shit. So, I might be able to recognize when you're heading for a wall. And if I tell you to turn the wheel a little bit, just listen to me. I'm an old guy.
I don't think we actually have enough older people around us as young people to get feedback.
Yeah, experience is...
Because comics, you guys do.
dead.
That's like a thing. You know, you kind of...
It's not really. It
Really?
sort of is, but it's not.
What do you mean?
There's an irreverence to comedy. There's not a community as much. It's really a solo thing.
Interesting.
You know, it's like I remember when Rogan and I went hunting. The first time we ever did Meat Eater. And I just, he was like, hey, this is tough. We're representing the comedy community. And I said, yeah, you know, that tight-knit bunch. And he started laughing really hard because it's true. It's like we're all hopelessly individualistic and just a bunch of misfits.
Actually, that makes...
Good people, but I'm just saying...
Well, it's funny you say that because I was looking at a study yesterday about how there's a study in Japan where people who laughed more frequently not only lived longer, by like significantly longer, like 20 to 30% longer than their other peer group, and this was a long-form study over a series of decades, but also had a decrease in disability, so less Alzheimer's, less even macular degeneration, so losing of your eyesight. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, laughing's good for you. I think we all kind of know that.
Community,
But specifically, laughter could have even been individual, where you watched something and laughed.
Yeah.
But what I thought was also interesting is then you have the flip side, which is there seems to be no increase in happiness for telling jokes, only for hearing them.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Right?
Because when you're telling jokes, well, that's why comics are miserable. I'm not.
Yeah.
But a lot of comics are, I mean, it's because, remember, there's a famous actor I won't go into because I'm a fan, but he saw me at a party, and I'd met him before, but he wanted to talk to me because I was a comic. It was kind of cool, right? And I was dating my now wife, and it was cool to have this very famous person kind of like, approach me and, blah, blah. And then what I realized is that, he was using me as essentially an excuse to perform. And I went, yeah, and I do that. So we all have this. When you're a performer, you have this unflattering shadow side, which is, look at me. I want all the attention. I'm a vacuum cleaner. I have a lot of that in me, and it's not a very admirable trait. And it certainly doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make you more happy when you're looking to be the center of the world.
Actually,
but you can replace that. You can replace that with trying to be, for lack of a better word, an artist. And what does that mean? Again, doing something original that no one has seen, surprising yourself. And that's what I do now. And so then your comedy goes from being, I'm not saying I do this, but certainly the ideal would be, I'm of service. Let me do something to make you laugh. And that feels good, man.
Yeah.
That feels good. You're connecting with people and you're making them laugh, and you're doing it because you can, and as a result, it's because you should. I was put on this earth not to invent, rockets, but to be a jackass and get you to forget about your life for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think you can be really funny and be happy? It seems like a lot of comedians are dark and twisted.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Rogan's very happy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have. It just depends on your personality trait. Maybe a better way is that when you are a dark person, there's very little open to you, but you cope with just trying to be funny about this brutal thing called life. You were born, a lot of times shorter than other guys, weaker than other guys, not as athletic in any way. You never had any victories. You never had women like you. These are traumatic things for men to go through when you're an adolescent and stuff. But you're funny, right? You're funny, and now you get, like, the cool kids think you're great, and that you get addicted to that because you're accepted. So that's where a lot of comedy comes from. For me, I think comedy came from being moved constantly. I was always thrown into a whole different set of kids. Hey, we're moving to Saudi Arabia, but I have a dog. I've been here for 2 years. I go, now you'll figure it out. We're moving to Lebanon. I know, but I have another dog here, and I have a snake. What are we gonna do? We'll find a home. Yeah, right. What the fuck? All right, see you later, everybody. There's no email. No, bye-bye. So and here's a new group of kids in the middle of the school year. And I learned very quickly that Don't be the last guy picked on the team. Be a little bit, look, that was coordinated enough to be, not a hindrance on a sports team. And also I got good at making people laugh quickly. And I got really good at reading what people were ashamed of and what they were proud of. That was my superpower, my communication superpower, if I may, is I was really good at figuring out what people were ashamed of. Mm-hmm. We all have a side of us that we hide.
Totally.
And that's the side we're proud of. And I think if you want people to like you, and if you want people to feel comfortable, and you help them hide what they're ashamed of, but you accentuate and you highlight and you speak out what it is they're proud of. And we're all that way as human beings.
That's so good. It's funny because it's true. Like we have this incel movement in the U.S. now. We have, I read a study the other day that we have 55% more single women from 2000 to 2023. And then, of course, it makes sense, sort of what's happening even politically in our country, because they vote predominantly Democrat, and men increasingly of their age vote conservative or Republican, and the women increasingly don't want to actually date those who have this different perspective, which is very silly to me. Yeah. But what I think is really interesting is this incel movement is a lot about Tinder. I mean, I'm friends with Sean Rad. I like him a lot, the guy who created Tinder. But we were talking the other day. I'm like, fuck, man. I mean, the app is inherently swipe, visual, and like, what have you done?
And if you put that you're not over 6 feet.
Yeah.
There's all these weird things.
Right.
So 10% or 5% of the men get all the girls.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And so I think actually it'd be really interesting to have more of like a comedian's perspective for young men, like, yeah, okay, you're not rich, you're not maybe smarter than everybody else, you're not better looking, but fuck me, if you can make somebody laugh, we show, 1, you can make them live longer, 2, it makes them happier, and 3, I bet a lot more chicks like you.
Yeah, but you know what? Men are terrified. This fourth wave feminism has gone from fighting for equal rights to saying men want to kill and rape you. Yeah, and so that's with social media, a woman can say anything. And I know so many my relatives who are living in a world where they're very aware that they could do something in college and somebody doesn't have a good experience with them sexually or intimately. And 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, they say X, Y, and Z. They get a story. Yeah. What do you get? A statement. But you're done. Yeah. You're done. And they're very aware of that. So there's a lot of that too. Men and women have been pitted against each other in this. It was always adversarial in the United States. Yeah. It was always adversarial. It was always like, there was this thing where boys and girls separate almost voluntarily at 6 years old, and they don't really come together until college. Mm-hmm. So when you're in college, all of a sudden you're living with a girl, a woman, or a girl, and you're a boy or you're a man. But typically it's a boy and a girl, and you're living with somebody, and you've been around guys your whole life, and she has a different consideration, and you think she's crazy, and she thinks you're insensitive. And it's like, and you have there's no mechanism, there's no bridge in which to work it out. You can go to a therapist, but nobody's going to get a fucking therapist. Guys aren't taught that. What do you mean a therapist? They just fucking stop being crazy. Oh, that's helpful, right? Yeah. You're not given those tools. Mm-hmm. And like, I remember my girlfriend fell asleep during Raging Bull, my favorite movie. And I was like so outraged. Like, how the fuck do you fall asleep at the greatest movie? I broke up with her. I was like, she can't appreciate Raging Bull. Hey, dumbass. Now, of course, at 57, my wife is watching, and my wife's smart and great, and I love her, but she's my favorite person, but she's watching Love is Blind and can't get enough of it. Oh, and it's getting all involved. I'm like, Jesus. I can't watch 1 minute of that shit. But it's just what she's interested in. I'm interested in stats when it comes to fighting, or, in UFC or in I don't know, in football.
Yeah.
Which is different, man.
Totally different. Yeah. I think one of the things that saved Chris and my marriage is we've sort of allowed each other to not give a fuck about what the other person's talking about. And so if at a certain point he's telling me a story that I literally couldn't care less, then I just go, yeah, it's so weird. Like the first episode of Gossip Girl really got me because she was wearing, and then he'll do the opposite to me. Like I was cleaning the Glock and what happened is the hammer pull, and I was like, fucking don't care, fine.
There you go.
Okay? And we just have a little joke because it doesn't mean I don't love you. I just literally couldn't care less about that thing you're talking about, which should be fine.
By the way, thank God.
Thank God. Yeah, because also, I mean, I love hanging out with my person, and it sounds like you do too, but you got to also like have some girl time, have some dude time.
Well, my wife will tell me about her dream. Now, if I did that with a buddy of mine, he'd be like, hey, bro, hey, is this a dream you're telling me about? And, you know, like the other day, she was telling me a story, and I'm not listening. And she's like, and then she's going on. I'm like, yeah, and I'm trying to do something else. I'm like, yeah. And then this like ship comes down, and I go, hey, are you telling me about a dream? You tell me about, I'm trying to, she goes, yeah. I go, I'm not listening to you about a dream. Nothing happened. It's a dream. What do you mean a ship? I'm fucking trying to do something. I'm paying bills. Like, how dare you take 20 minutes of my day?
To be fair, I have a friend, shout out Shayna. She always tells me about her dreams. I also don't care about the dream. I think we need a moratorium on dreams.
You present mail.
I know, damn it. I know.
You don't.
But I think, I think we've gotten too into talking about ourselves sometimes. Not that Shayna does that, but the dream thing is funny. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about one other thing. Like, that's a little bit about this. You know, we were talking about it when we were first, like, going to do the pod. Today is a weird week, right? We've got we got Trump on Rogan. We've got you on Rogan next today. We had I watched Tucker Carlson have Rob Schneider come out before him.
I love Rob.
And then I saw Andrew Schultz had Trump. Like, what is going on with comedians, and like, are they the new voice of reason? When did this happen? You've been in this game a long time and know a bunch of these guys. I never would have predicted this like 10 years ago.
Well, Trump has a young son, Barron, and Barron's very keyed into what's cool. And Barron is a guy who's looking at his dad going, hey, Dad, you want to get young people? Get on Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, that was
Get on Joe Rogan. Get on all the podcasts I listen to. And that's what's going on. Is and to Trump's credit, and you know, he's comfortable among the bros. And you can say what you want about bro comics and bro podcasts, but that's what men are listening to. And they're listening to it because it's first of all, it's also long form. So when you hear Trump talk for 3 hours, or Bernie Sanders talk for 3 hours, or whoever it might be for 3 hours, you not only get a very different perspective on who this person is, because you will settle. You can't sell for 3 hours. Yeah, okay. You end up settling into who you really are. Oh, and that's a very, very different and new thing. And so your celebrity and your shine is no good here, my friend. And it used to be forever that when we saw a celebrity, whoever it was, they were on Johnny Carson or Conan O'Brien or Jay Leno for 5 minutes. Yep. And the questions were prepared, and you can be mysterious. You can be Johnny Depp and answer very few questions and dress like a pirate. And we were like, he's so cool. And Hollywood was a mystery. Yeah. And everything was a mystery. And how they keep their bodies that way was a mystery. And then along comes, you know, the internet and cameras everywhere. And all that facade goes away. Yeah. All of a sudden, all that sheen. And you got a guy like Rogan, who is not selling you anything. He's just talking, and he's not interviewing you. He's just having a conversation with you. And we get a sense of who you really are when you're just sitting around. And I think it's very telling that Kamala Harris wasn't willing to do, and I understand she thinks it's hostile territory, and it is. And I understand that she feels like she's probably walking into a no-win situation, because Rogan's going to ask you questions, and he's going to be Rogan.
And he's good and he's smart.
And she's just not comfortable there.
Yeah.
But I think it was a mistake. Because if she had sat down for 3 hours and spoken from the heart and really told us what she thinks, really told us what she really thinks about the border, what she really thinks about the economy, what she really thinks about fracking, you know, what she really thinks about taxes, how much of the federal government should you be working for every day? What percentage? 50%, is that fair? How many people, 1% of the population pays over 50% of the taxes, something like that. 10% pays 90%. I'd like to hear these conversations, but you're still trying to sell a concept like joy to the American people. Is that what you're trying to do? You think we're that dumb? Is that what you're doing, Oprah? When Oprah's like joy, I really want to be like, you're better than that. You're lying to us.
Yeah.
And it's not about Trump or Kamala Harris, but you're not being respectful, which is another way of saying you're not representing us because you don't think we're worth it. And more importantly, you think we're dumb. The average American, and I am an average American, I'm a capitalist. I have a business. If I don't put butts in my seats when I go out and do stand-up, I got a problem. Real problem. I pay for it, okay? And most of us as Americans we pay a price for being wrong. Yeah. If I miscalculate, if I have a business, I pay a real price. So I live in a world of objective reality. And when you don't, and when you start talking to me about concepts like joy, when you start talking to me about the problem in the United States is that we're racist and transphobic and homophobic, when you say that somebody trying to run a business or trying to put their kids through school or just trying to make enough money so their kids can do the after-school baseball program, all of us go, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where you live because you live in an area code I can't afford anyway. You don't pay a price for being wrong. You make your living with your mouth by talking. And I'm up early, man, and I don't see this. I don't see that America.
100%.
I'm trying to get food out on the table for my customers. And I don't care if what do you mean gender neutral bathrooms? What are you talking about? I don't even think about that stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So true.
I've been going to my daughter's baseball, my daughter's, lacrosse games or tennis games, whatever the fuck sport is. I've been going to her games ever since she was 7 years old, trying to get her a scholarship because I can't afford it. And you want to put men in there? You want to put biological men who can come in and shatter records and get those scholarships? You want to do that to me after I've been a mom and I've taken my kids to all the... Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck you. You're not American. You're not even a real human being.
No.
You're talking to me from you philosopher kings. You're talking to me from the Beltway. You're talking to me from Silicon Valley. I don't even know who you are, man. Yeah. I don't even know who you are. You have so much money, it's ridiculous. So is it a wonder? Is it a wonder that most of us are a little bit suspicious, a little bit feel a little bit unrepresented by that machine over there called the left wing? Yeah. It has nothing to do, it's not saying that Democrats, traditional Democrats, don't have something to offer.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm fucking a far right guy. I'm not. It just means I'd like a little objective reality here, man.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, I think that's one of the problems with getting too much cash is, I think that it's wrong that we don't talk about money. I think we got to talk about money more because money is really just one thing. It's just, I get to assert my will more on you and you get to assert it less on me. The more I have on it, the more I push back on the world and I create my own reality with this green piece of paper. Weirdly.
That's a great way to put it.
That's it. Speaking of making money, if you guys haven't picked up the book, Main Street Millionaire, that I'm pointing to right over here, you definitely should. This book is all about how do you get ownership, which I think is the key to all money. It's not really about do you want to just only go buy a business? It's how do you become a deal maker and how do you become an owner, because that is how you get rich. If you already have a business, you should buy it so that you can figure out how to integrate more businesses into your business. If you have a salary, you should buy it so you can figure out how to actually negotiate upside. And if you want to understand what's going on in our world today with the big guys owning everything and us begging for scraps, you should buy it in order to read it too. You guys get a bunch of free downloads with it if you do this before the book comes out, so get there soon, msmbook.com. And for some reason, as we get richer, we don't talk about money anymore. It's not okay to talk about money anymore. In fact, it's like scammy and lowbrow and whatever. No, it's fucking not. You think it's that way because if you can get people to believe that we shouldn't share the only thing that actually creates a protective measure of freedom, then we have less of it, which is where we're at today. And so I remember when I first got on the internet, I was like, fuck, after you make some money, you don't really want to talk about it. I mean, Hollywood's a perfect example. Yeah. Nobody ever talks about money in Hollywood. Right. They don't talk about how much they make. They don't talk about where they are. Most of the time, actually, they just try to make themselves look normal again. They're just like, remember back when I stole candy bars? You're like, you haven't eaten a candy bar in 37 years.
Yeah,
you did. That's not even a real thing anymore.
Right.
And that's okay that it's not real. It's awesome that you transcended this somehow. But I never really liked that, which kind of.
But the American Republic's really cool and very unique in the sense that you can grow rich and you can show it off. When Donald Trump said, they said, do you think Mitt Romney, it's a liability that he's so rich? And he goes, he's not rich, I'm rich. And and the reason that Americans, the difference is the American experiment is beautiful because the reason we don't have pitchforks outside and the rich don't get, guillotined and lynched is because every American knows that they too could one day be a millionaire. Yeah. So there's a potential. The potential to be a millionaire is huge in the American spirit. And it's a large part of the glue that keeps this republic working.
You're right. Do you know the percentage of millionaires that are self-made in the U.S.? 79%. Which you would never see on the news, right? No. 79%. And I think that's a really good reminder. And also, they don't fucking stay there, which is a perfect point about being in business. Because most small business owners, 90% of our cash is in our businesses.
Yes.
We're not rolling around in dough. No. And also, when people get mad about
even
Donald.
billionaires.
No, that's what I said.
I know people who have $1 billion, they the huge money. It's all wrapped up in stock.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And one of my team members always jokes because you come on these podcasts and what's the thing that you spent the most amount of money on ever? Did you ever get asked that question?
Yeah.
And I didn't jokingly, I said it just accidentally out loud the first time, but I was like, well, people, and I was like, I don't mean it that way, but you end up hiring more people in business because that's how you make a business grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real answer for most people.
That's interesting too. I wouldn't have answered that, but
yeah, it's probably unreasonable that I have.
True,
wait, I want to talk about making money in comedy. So I went to a comedy show the other day at the Comedy Store in LA, and it was incredible. It was there were maybe 20 comics that went through kind of rapidly. Whitney Cummings was there, who was a big name. I like her a lot. And a bunch of other ones. I can't remember all the names, but a couple other big names. And it was, I don't know, maybe a 2-hour show, I guess, and 60 people in the audience. And so I'm doing the math. Nobody's making any fucking money.
That's not where you make money.
How
you make $25 for that.
You make $25?
Yeah, 15.
No,
you're not making money there.
So wait. Whitney Cummings has to go there for $15?
No, but she's not doing it for that. No, you're doing it just to stay sharp, and you're doing it because it's fun and stuff like that.
So it's like a podcast almost.
You
come for free.
You make your money on the road.
Okay, so how does that work exactly?
You charge a certain amount for tickets. You get the door, or you get a guarantee, or you get 8% of the door, or you get a piece of the alcohol sales. And it just all depends on how your agent works it. And if you can sell a theater twice in a night, you'll make a lot of money.
Define a lot. So in
So the comics that the big comics are making $20 to $30 million a year.
On touring or on everything?
On touring.
On touring. And that's because they're doing 50, 60.
Some of them are making
stops?
$700,000 a night.
On a night. Okay.
But
it's not just from ticket sales. They get a percentage of alcohol and then merch.
It's just
you're
able to sell. Matt Rife, I think, sold a $65 million deal or something like that with Live Nation, something like that.
So he gets guarantees up front.
Yeah, but people, they're especially a lot of women, love Matt.
Dude, great demographic too.
Yeah,
and
he's
young
beautiful,
women.
But he's also a great guy, and he's also works really hard at comedy, and he's also really respectful. I've known Matt since he was 17. This kid's been working his ass off.
And he's incredible at social media.
It's just that he never always was. He's just a kid who, he's a beautiful looking human being. But Matt's also a guy he's also a good guy who really wants to be good at comedy and works really hard at it. And something just hit. And then a lot of young girls were like, a lot of women in general are like, he's delicious. He's delicious and he's funny, and I just want to go see him. It's like a rock star.
Is that what they say about you too?
Constantly, naturally.
Yeah.
And I haven't even done my hair. I'm going to get a hair transplant.
Why?
Because it's free. Because somebody's paying for it.
Seriously?
Yep. And I'm going to get 2,500 grafts. So you think I'm hot now? I am. I cannot wait till I come in and I'm going to be like that. Yep. And I'm going to get my face tightened. I'm not done. And then I'm finally going to go on testosterone and maybe some Anabol or Dianabol. I don't know the names of the steroids, but know this: my skin will be tight, veiny as fuck. I'm going to shave and I'm going to tan. And I'm coming in here and I will be in a tank top and I'm going to get tattoos. I don't have one tattoo, but I'm getting tattoos. What's the name of this podcast?
The Big Deal.
Yeah. The Big Deal.
That actually tracks.
Right on my tits. But you're not going to be able to read it because of all the fucking divots. All the divots.
And the veins.
I hope you read Braille. I'm hilarious.
You are funny. I think we should go to this special. Okay, so you don't make a ton of money in comedy unless you're doing a shit ton of tours.
No, you make money. I mean, I make money in comedy.
Doing tours, though. Like, you can't really make it anywhere else. Like, where else? A special? You can make money on a special? No.
That's your infomercial.
Whoa, interesting. For you to sell
paid.
other
I mean,
things.
you'll get paid, sometimes, but that's not where people are making their real money. They
Interesting.
make money touring. It's just like music.
So what happens if you want to
musicians
stop,
don't make money
though?
off their album. They make
Albums.
money live touring.
So you have to Taylor Swift it. You got to have like this whole ecosystem around you.
Yeah, I met her a long time ago, one time, and she had just come off a tour, and it was a 365-day tour. And man, she was on a bus or a private plane, I think literally every night. I mean, they would come and play Tokyo for 3 days, and then they'd go to London, or they just do this tour. But I mean, it's crazy. That's
seems like
really
a machine.
Hard.
I don't think it. And you know what kills me with Taylor Swift that I am most impressed about? That she can make that surprised face every single time she goes on tour for like 25 years. And I still buy it.
Yeah, she's, special human being. I don't know.
Yeah, that's next
level. Part of it's being able to sing the same song over and over again. I can never do it. But
Me neither.
Yeah, but she can do it.
So you don't do the same jokes. Like, how does that work? Like, for a total normie, do you carry like a joke book around, and then when you say something funny, you write it down?
If I end up doing writing, for me it's a mindset. You're always writing. But if I end up doing a show, I'm going to shoot this special in January, and then the horror sets in, because now I have to write a whole new hour. I throw it all away. And it's so difficult not to repeat yourself. It's so difficult not to be kind of on the same themes. It's so difficult not to, it's just so hard. So I'll go through 6 months of misery and maybe a year of writer's block and feel like a piece of shit and not like myself and all that. Just old standard shit.
So that happens like once a year. How often do you do a special?
Probably every 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Really 2 years is not enough time for me. I write pretty fast, but to let it really settle in, just doing this, this is going to be, I don't know, since Man Tears, I don't know, almost 3 years, maybe it's 2 years.
Wild.
I don't know, but man, it's and it's everything. Talk about every drop. It's it's everything I can do. It's my best. It's the best I can do, the best.
And do you get only one shot, or do you film
I'll
three?
I'll shoot 2 or maybe 4.
Do you chop them together, like the best parts?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
But either way, it's just going to be a bitch.
Interesting.
So hard.
I bet.
That's not hard. Shooting is not hard. It's just that
It's the
then
actual content.
Then I have to be I got to write new jokes. I got to write I got to be thematic. Good luck.
Yeah.
I just want to quit.
No, it's going to be great. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
What about how, kind of technically, and maybe this isn't how it works, but how do you start thinking about being funny? How does one become funny?
I don't think you think about being funny. I think you have to do something very different. I believe you start with personal questions. What am I afraid of? Who am I pretending to be? Who do I want to be? Who am I really? How do I want to die? How do I not want to die? What do I want to say before I die? What do I want to think right before I die? What will I regret before I die? What do I honestly revere? What am I really afraid of? What am I pretending I'm afraid of? Get into those questions, those personal questions. And I think that anybody who writes anything, whether it's music or it's a movie or anything, is you're trying to answer a primary question. You're wrestling with a question. My obsession has been, what is a man? What is courage? What is it? What is masculinity? How do you define it? Am I a provider and a protector? What does that really mean? And what is courage? And what is toughness? And all these things that I grew up trying to be. What is real strength? What is it? And those are the obsessions I've always had, and I try to write about. And for me, they find their way through funny channels.
Yeah.
But think about, so what's a book? When you read a novel, the great novels. I mean, the theme of any novel. So the way to define theme, is it's essentially the author's argument for how to behave in the world.
Yeah, it is.
It is, and so I think that, frankly, my special is that way. That I hope thematically I get what I want to say across.
Yeah. And so you actually maybe that's why so often comics these days are a little bit like philosophers, because you're starting from really questions.
You do. When you're younger, you're trying to just be funny. It's English on a ball, but
what does that mean? English
that's a pool expression. I stole that from Rogan. But it's a pool expression. Like you put a lot of spin on the ball, but it doesn't mean you can run a table. It doesn't mean you're a great pool player. You're good at trick shots.
Yeah, you're like the Harlem Globetrotters to the main. Okay, sports analogy. Look at that.
Yeah, but it's true. It's great.
Okay.
So that's then you get older and you want to say something.
Right. I guess that's sort of even like you watch the evolution of Dave Chappelle. And like today, I remember we got to sit down and watch him and Rogan when he was doing it here during COVID, which felt really special because the world was so shut down. But I remember sitting there thinking the most interesting part of this is not that we're laughing, although there is laughter. It's like the command of big questions and like watching one human really deeply dive into it live.
I was watching Dave. I was watching Dave in tiny shows in New York 30 years ago.
Interesting. Did you know then?
28 years ago.
Can you tell that somebody is going to be great when you first see them? No.
Yeah, in a way, you can certainly tell somebody's going to be successful. Success is a mindset that you're probably partially born with. Rogan was going to be successful no matter what. He was a bulldog. But part of it's also growing up. How did you grow up? Did you grow up without a dad where the world was really dangerous and you had to figure out how to navigate the world? Was your heart broken at a very early age and you realized nobody was coming and it was all up to you? Were you 50 Cent? Where you had no one to go home to, and then you got shot 9 times, and you bled all your fear out in the back of that cab? Who were you? When did you meet chaos? A great deal of world leaders lost almost, some crazy percentage of them lost at least one parent before the age of 12, usually 2. And if you're taught how to navigate that, if you're taught how to navigate loss, or you have the reserves, or maybe the imagination. Maybe you were wired to deal with that. Maybe you had a stronger seawall. You'll come out, much stronger. I think it was Nietzsche who said, if I ever had children, I would wish upon them deprivation and loss, and uncertainty, because that's the only way you kind of become a fully realized human being. And if it visits you young enough, as tragic as it is, if somebody's there to help you, if you can find one outlet where you learn how to accomplish something, where you learn how to be good at it, you're going to always carry that baggage, but it makes for a strong piece of steel.
Yeah. I've never actually met a successful human who hasn't been through something that almost literally destroyed them.
That's right.
I think that tracks.
That's an important thing. As I'm at my age, if something really bad happened to you, just keep moving forward, because it may be the best thing that ever happened to you when you look back on it. Or as awful as it is, you may, if a gun was to your head, if you do it right and you keep moving forward, you will probably say I know you won't believe me now if you're going through it now, but you'll probably say, I wouldn't have changed it. It saved my soul. It saved my soul. And I know that's traumatic, but I believe it.
I get a little chills on that one. I think that's true.
That's because I'm bringing my voice down, and I'm looking at the camera, and I'm saying it in the air. And I didn't use Katharine Hepburn's voice, but I should have.
Do you have that whispery?
Yes, because I've got a great deal of soda in my voice, don't I? I do. I know. Yeah. Really, I put everyone to sleep with that.
Let's end with this one. I found a rather high number of videos of you and Brendan Schwab physically fighting online. What's the deal with that?
Because Brendan needs to learn. He needs to learn. And I don't like sometimes that he's disrespectful and I'm older. And I come at him. And sometimes as a baboon, that's British for baboon, I got to fight the bear. And a baboon, let's call me a dog. A dog's never going to beat a bear, but a dog can take the fight to the bear and just give him the what for. And in the dog's heart, as he's being crushed, he knows at least he had the balls to jump into the maw, into the belly of the beast. And part of it's just like, sometimes I like to feel what it's like to be killed by a grown man that easily, because it keeps me in check.
He's very large.
You have no idea. You know, he had this recent thing with Nate Diaz, and I like Nate and all that, but you know, like you have to understand that Brendan is a heavyweight, and Brendan walks around at 250, but a lot of times 260. There's not a lot of fat on him. He's bam bam. He's about as strong as your average gorilla, okay? And he's a legit black belt in jiu-jitsu, okay? And I've seen him tap the most famous people you can imagine. I've seen him tap with ease Olympians. I've seen him crush very famous fighters, very famous. And they're all 200 plus pounds. I've seen it with my own eyes, okay? Many times. He never talks about it, but I've seen it. So if you are under a heavyweight and you're spouting off, just know that he's a bear, and there's a time where he's going to grab you. Now he was taking a nap one time. I jumped on him. I put him in a deep judo. I had my hips out. I had a gable grip. I had him here. I had him pinched deep, and I had him right here. And I was like, "Say something, say it," and I mean, you're not getting out of that. Look at this shit. Look at that right there. I wish you guys could see what I'm working with, because I got chimp strength right there. I'm here. I'm pulling tight. I've got his head and arm, and you're not going anywhere. And all he does is giggle.
No.
Yep. He giggles, and then the curtain shuts, and then reality goes like that on me. And all of a sudden now I'm in a position that you don't want to be in. I'm basically his bitch.
Oh my God. So I think with the special in January, when we get your like number one Netflix spot, maybe that needs to be the end of the show. Just you and Brendan
just fighting?
On stage fighting.
Wrestling?
Yeah, it's like the next stage. It's like UFC and comedy together. I don't think anybody's done it.
The problem is every time I try to do that, I've tried going takedowns with him, and I got a contusion on my ear. This side of my face was red for about 11 days.
All right.
It sprawled on me.
We're going to need a workshop.
I'm getting too old.
It's perfect right now.
I still do jiu-jitsu. I rolled the other day with a bunch of 20-somethings. I couldn't look left for like 10 days.
That's like after you work out with Tim Kennedy.
Oh,
it's not okay.
I tried to grapple with Tim on a beach in the south of France, very romantic, and I just remember being on all fours, and he was on top of me, and he very appropriately drew a heart in the sand.
He
was controlling me with his legs. And I'm a grown man.
I can see, and you talk about grizzly bear eyes an odd amount of time, but he has those eyes. Yeah, he has those like just dark shark eyes.
He'll take your head.
Yeah, but smile the whole time.
No,
like a psychopath.
He'll kill you.
I love that man also.
One of my favorite people on the planet.
All right, Brian Callen, thank you so much for being here today. I can't wait to see the special. I can't wait. You're on tour, so I'm going to definitely come to a few of those, and on Instagram.
When do you think this will air?
Well, you could tell me when you wanted to, and we can align it.
Just go to briancallen.com, and I'll be all over Buffalo. I'll be all over Florida.
100%. And they should actually go to your Instagram first and follow, because there's some hysterical videos on there. You're also funny.
You're one of my 1 million followers plus.
You didn't have a safety net growing up. You know, you were kind of like an army kiddo.
Yeah.
How did you learn to take this risk, to go big?
You can't get to where you want to get to in life without a compass. And I think the most important thing is just reminding myself the power of speaking life and manifestation. There's something that just happens psychologically for me, and I just start to will myself in that direction.
5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Grammy award-winning superstar, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and cultural icon, Sierra. If you're tired of chasing someone else's definition of success and you're ready to design your own, today we are going to start that journey with you. Has there ever been a moment where you felt like the whole internet hated you? Like you got a ton of hate? Really?
Yeah. I don't know one great that hasn't been told they can't or hasn't been tried to be knocked down. And I think those moments, like, they make you more bulletproof. It lets you know that you're doing something right, that they have something to say. It's like, okay, I'm making you feel some kind of way. Let me stay the course. You're going to be challenged. You're going to fall. And when you fall, what do you go to? My faith is the one thing that gives me peace to get things where they need to be and just to stay the course.
What do you think is one of your business superpowers? Like what are the things you're like, we think about the design this way that nobody else does? Like what is that for you, do you think?
Good question. I think it goes back to...
So I was going through your bio. Holy hell, not a slouch. 23 million albums sold, probably more now because this is outdated, all of these companies. Then I see some of your fashion stuff. And I was wondering, is there something that you say to yourself before you go out on a stage to tens of thousands of people to hype yourself up?
Yeah, I'd probably say a few things. I always pray before I go on the stage. That's a must do. Even if I'm rushing to the stage, before I go, I can be in my little silo on the back, in the backstage on the side, in the wing literally, and I'm get that prayer in. So I'm really big on that. I normally do it with my team, which is always a beautiful thing, and I'm pretty much on time for the most part with stuff like that. But yeah, I would say before I go on stage, I also have to take a deep breath sometimes. And nerves, depending on the situation, the nerves can be really high, so I'm we got to bring them down. And I'm let's go. We got this. You're supposed to be here. God called you here. Let's go get it. I'll hype myself up inside. You got this. That's probably the most consistent sentence. You got this. Let's go.
Yeah. So you still get nerves?
Oh, yeah. I do.
That never goes away.
I used to have a rule. I would say we don't say the nervous. We don't say that word.
Cool.
There was something psychologically for me that I feel it could trigger more nerves.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that fresh nervous feeling all over again. I'm why do I feel this way? God, I've been doing this a lot now. And why does it feel new, all over again? And I remember being on Jenna Bush, co-hosting some shows with her. And she said to me, she said, those nerves are what lets you're thriving. It's a feeling that you get, it's, you're alive, it's something to those nerves, something good's going to happen when you have that feeling.
Yep.
So I've really worked, and I continually work at embracing when I'm having that moment, okay, it's a part of it. We got this. And then literally whenever I hit the stage, the first 3 seconds or 3 to 5 seconds, nerves are gone. And now we're in the zone.
I do feel like that. I always think pressure is a privilege.
Yes.
And so recognizing those little butterflies, this means this game on.
Yeah.
At least we're doing something big now. We're not playing small.
There we go.
Which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like you have, but I've given a bad speech before. Where I just know it's bad, and it hasn't happened that much, which is so cool, or I'm not aware of it yet. And so, but I'll get off. And it's such a horrifying feeling.
Yeah.
Have you ever bombed a performance and thought, this was so bad? And then what do you do to snap out of it after you've quote unquote failed?
Performance, I've definitely had some moments where I'm man, that could have been better. I wish I had one more take. I think it's you kind of have to I love this word embrace. You embrace the moment. You're okay, how do I learn from this? And it's you got to psychologically, you kind of got to psych yourself out. Yeah. It's okay, that happened, but all right, everyone to the next. You literally have to, it's have amnesia. That's what it is. You got to have a little amnesia when you have your blunders in life or you make your big mistakes. It's okay, I got to have amnesia so that I don't hold onto that upset and disappointing feeling for too long. It's okay, where did we mess up? Why did we mess up? Okay, now note it. All right, amnesia. Forgot about it. Let's go. Because it is a psychological thing. And because I'm a perfectionist, I will let the moments, where I feel I didn't do my best, or I wish I could have like done something differently. I will let those things like get in my head. And I try to do like good mind control for my mental sake, because the more you like, you harp on things not being right, there is a negative impact to that. If you hold on to that energy and that weight. So I have to like reset, clear slate, nothing happened. All right, now what are we doing today? Where are we going next, And then you're like, the next time I get that shot, I am never doing that again, right? And it could be, to your point, whether it's on the stage or it can be a meeting, like you said, it can be a speech, any of those scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to clean the slate.
Yeah, I think it's all contextual too, right?
Yeah.
When you're at your level, you're like, oh, I was supposed to be here, and maybe I was right here. But I think we all, wherever you are in life, it can feel like it's the end of the world, even though, later you is not going to think anything about it. We were talking before the podcast about how like young you has to be you used the word delusional.
You got to be delulu.
And I think
you do got to. I mean, when I was younger, well, I don't want to stop you.
I want to hear it.
Well, what I realized is that hindsight 2020, when I was a little girl and I walked into rooms, and also being a woman of color, I never walked into the room thinking that I had any issue, like anything against me. I didn't think there were any odds stacked against me, because I was so committed to my vision and I believed so much in it. And I think I just saw like the vision happening and coming to life in my mind, that when I walked into rooms, like I was like very like fearless, and like, I mean, I probably would have been outspoken to some. Like they're probably like, this girl, she's saying too much, or she needs to shut up, or they probably were saying all these things, but I was like, I was a little delulu. I wasn't like really mindful of like, I didn't think about those things first, right? And I think that you kind of have to have that mentality, especially being a woman. I think there's an automatic perception of us when we walk into rooms, especially back then. I think it's kind of starting to change a little bit by bit for us, but you have to have that that mental approach. Like the moment we start putting all these thoughts in front of in our minds and in our heads, we start to like curtail things or like to change it up versus like, what's your instinct tell you to do? What's your gut tell you? Like, I still have to challenge myself to stop prefacing things like, if this sounds right, or, stuff like that. Like, if that makes sense, like I'll say that kind of stuff. It's like, no, it does make sense. Right. But when you're young, it's just like a little puppy. Like, you don't know, you just do what you feel. And I'm so glad that I had that. And then I also had to learn along the way, okay, there's ways you have to like, do things. And most importantly, as a woman, emotions left at the door. Emotions have to stay at the door. Like when it comes to business, there's no black and white. There's no gray, it's black and white. Emotions, put them like this, toss them and attack, so it took me some time to learn a lot of things along the way, but I'm so glad that I was a little delulu as a young girl coming up, because I went for it, and I'm so glad I did.
No kidding. But it's a great point that you say, which is, I don't think we were told, like, I'm Latina, and sometimes people will say, oh, well, it must have been hard as like a Latina in finance or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, bitch, those guys all look the same. It was Chad and Brad and Matt and, whatever. And at least I look different. So like, I don't know. I think you kind of can write your own narrative and say like, maybe it's a win.
Yeah.
So like now you have kids. Like, what do you tell them? Like, are there words in Sierra's house? You're like, no. You don't label yourself this way. Like this is how we talk about ourselves.
I think the greatest thing is like, really catching my kids if they say negative things about themselves. Like, I can't, do this, or I'm not good at math, or I'm not good at this. Like, I'm really big on removing that negative thought, and I'm just consistent. I follow through with like, you can, like, you're so smart, you're so capable, like, always speaking life, like you're so amazing, like, you're so awesome, like you're so fun to be around. Like if there's friendship challenges, like I try to like go opposite of the things that like, I know their little minds start to process, and I'm like, let me speak life into them. So the biggest thing for me that's been a standard internally is like, we don't quit, right? Just because something didn't work out and maybe you didn't ace a scenario doesn't mean you're a failure. To me, failing is when you quit, right? So that's kind of like my mentality, and I'm really big on that, passing that down to my kids. because I think that's really served me well. And yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So you have, this giant career, but from what I can see, like you didn't have a safety net growing up. You were kind of like an army kiddo.
Yeah.
You moved around constantly. You didn't have connections in music.
Mm-mm.
And so how did you learn to take this risk, to go big?
So I always say I'm an only child. Okay. I think that when you're an only child, you have a lot of time on your hands to dream and like, imagine things and like, just do all that kind of stuff. And I've naturally been a very ambitious individual. And I don't know if it's my only child in me. Like, it's kind of like, I'm going to get what I want, I think I am. But most importantly, I was given a lot of love growing up. We didn't have a lot financially, but my love made me feel like I was so rich on the inside, especially. My greatest thing, though, what I did is I'm always big on like, you can't get to where you want to get to in life without a compass. And that was like a natural instinct for me. So the moment I decided I was going to be an entertainer, I literally sat in my room. I was probably 13-ish years old. And I had a goal sheet. And I was like, I'm going to write down my game plan. Because I had decided, I had a conversation with my classmates at lunch. And I was like, we were talking about life after high school, and it's time to start talking about, the colleges you're going to go to and registering and all that stuff. And I'm like, I run track, I'm fast. I am leaving a couple people in the dust, but I ain't breaking records. Okay. I did long jump, triple jump, 4x1, 100. I mean, like I was thriving, but again, I was realistic. I'm not breaking records. That's holding up a gold medal just may not be for me. And I also did cheerleading, which I loved, but I was like, that's not going to be my ultimate job, but I love it and respect the sport. Shout out to the cheerleaders in the world. Okay. It is a sport. All right. But I was like, I know I can sing and dance, and was never trained to do any of it. Like it was me just kind of being within myself. Again, only child, energy. Like you're like, I think I have some talents here. Like, okay, let me channel these talents. And I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. And the moment I decided that, like me being a determined little girl and like ambitious, I said, let me write down my game plan to get there. And literally 2 weeks after I wrote down my game plan, which was, and it was a yellow blue line paper. I've got to go to my mom's house to find this, or my mom and dad's house. But basically I had 3 goals. My first goal was to get discovered. And then I wrote down how I was going to do it. So I was going to put myself in talent shows and, find ways to be exposed so someone could discover me. And I remember signing up for the national anthem at my high school. It was the first thing I ever did publicly, right? Now, mind you, I'm coming raw. I ain't had no training. Nobody's told me, how to do this. I'm just doing what I thought I saw on TV, or like, what I was studying. So I'm singing the national anthem, and then on and the rock is red glare, I cracked. And then I'm like, sorry, the phone's bursting. But I mean, I was really so nervous. Okay, but that was the beginning, right? I said, put myself in talent shows, go do the national anthem, just do anything to be exposed. That was the first goal, get discovered and how to do it. So the second goal was, once I got discovered, to sell 3 to 4 million albums. And then the third goal was to have longevity. Okay. So this was like my little short list, my short goal list.
At 13.
Yeah. So I did the national anthem, talked to my friends at school about, this is what I'm going to do, at that same table. We were talking about our goals post high school. And one of my friends remembered that I said I wanted to be an entertainer. And he comes up to me like 2 weeks later and he's like, hey, see, there's this group. They're looking for a third member. Would you want to audition? And I'm like, yeah. So I get on the phone, I start singing, and I sound a hot mess. I don't know why they wanted to see me, to be honest with you, but they still wanted to see me. Maybe my friend like pumped me up and was like, I'm telling you, she's so talented or something. I don't know. But they still wanted to see me. I went to the group's house, and this third member they were looking for, I was probably like the 5th person to audition for this. Like they had already had 4 girls before me, kind of thing, right? So, and the third member just was not working out for this group. But I made the group, made the group, and then clearly that didn't work out. But I still had my eyes set on the prize. And I ended up pursuing my solo career with the same person that discovered the group or was working the group. Signed my first admin deal when I was 15. And then I signed my first recording contract with a major label at 16.
That is wild.
Okay, so now goal 1, check. Get discovered. Thank God it happens, right? Then I put out my first album, Goodies, when I turned 18. Well, the song Goodies came out when I was 18, album 19, all in the same year.
That was 18.
And I put that out, and then thank God, you know, we not only did 3 to 4 million albums, we did 5. And it's still rolling, right? And then the third goal was to have longevity. And so now I sit here talking to you, you know, 21 years later since I put out the album, you know. But I just always been a big believer that you can't get to where you want to get to without a compass. And I think the most important thing is just reminding myself the power of speaking life and manifestation, because it is real. Like a lot of things that have happened in my life, it's happened, of course, by working hard for it, but also by speaking life into it and like manifesting it. Like, and I'm really big on like when I say I want to make something happen, like once I believe it and then I start saying it, there's something that just happens psychologically for me, and I just start to will myself in that direction, right?
Yeah. So if somebody wants to manifest like you, what is the process? Do you write it down, then you say it out loud, and you start taking action to it? Like, how do we copy Sierra?
For me, I would say you got to have a vision first, right? And we got to be realistic with our vision. I knew I could sing and dance. You know, I knew I was raw at it. Like a lot of my training happened in front of the world in real time, right? I didn't have a lot of show experience or any of that stuff. But, you know, I had a vision. It was very clear. And I think that vision that you have is got to give you goosebumps.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's got to give you an exciting feeling, right? Because you're going to need those, you're going to need that exciting and passion feeling more times than you can imagine, right? Because it's a passion. They say when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. So it's my passion that like gives me the will and like sustains me through it all, because I love what I do, because it's hard sometimes, you know? So I think it has to give you that excitement. Like, are you going to be ready to wake up every day early in the morning, have some sleepless nights, be tired as a dog, eyes red, everything, exhausted, mad at the world sometimes? Like, are you going to be ready? It's like, are you going to be ready for that? Like, you know, and that passion, again, is what's going to like push you through it, right?
Especially because you do the stilettos too on the stage, which was one of my glaring questions is how does that like, we'll get to it later, but I don't think people quite understand. I don't do what you do, but like even a YouTube video, the 42 takes you have to do for a YouTube video, I can't even imagine. Right. Because
the passion, right? I'm like, I want to make this great.
Yeah.
So you might go to bed, you know, sore, like, I mean, beat up, shot. But it's like, for me, you know, what do they say? Sometimes beauty is pain. Like, you know, it's worth it for me because my mission is to be the best I can be. My passion is what like drives me. Like, I want my fans to have the best experience and visual, right? Like visual experience, performance experience, song experience. So like, again, it goes back to my passion for that, right? So I'm always like, the day that I stop having that passion and love for what I do, then I stop.
Then you're out.
Because I know I won't. I mean, what you have to put into it, like there's not enough zeros to quantify, you know, the hard work, you know, or at least you're trying to work to get enough zeros to quantify. But who knows? You may never get it. So that's why the passion is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this quote from Emma Bombeck. She was like an old school feminist, but she says like, when I stand before God at the end of my days, I hope I will be able to say I'm wrung dry. I have not one drop left.
I love that.
I know. I always think about that.
Yeah.
Like that's what it takes. You got to like do the work that is fun for you that other people feel like is work.
100%.
And then you win.
Yeah, 100%. So I would say the passion, I would say, you know, once you've locked into that vision of what you want to do, it is big to write it down, like to write down your goals, like surrounding it, you know. And then if you have other goals in general that aren't even connected to it, like write down your goals. Because again, like what's your compass? Like, you know, for me, in this very moment in my life, I'm overdue a whiteboard session. Like I love whiteboard sessions.
Love a whiteboard.
Right?
Yes.
You know, like you put everything up on the board. It helps you to see clear, like, what do you have going on at this moment? And then what do you need to do less of? And then are we staying focused? Yeah. You know, so like, again, check your compass. Set your compass and then continually check it.
Yeah.
But yes, write it down, right? And then there's this part of like believing, right? Believing in the vision and then speaking life into it.
I love that line. So when you're whiteboarding, is this like, do you and your husband whiteboard?
We whiteboard together.
Stop it, that's adorable.
We do.
Who's in charge of the marker?
Our team. We both get on the board. we are both so passionate and so determined together to accomplish our goals that we have individually and together. You know, it's important, I think, for one hand to know what the other hand is doing. We both feel that way. Yeah. And so we love a whiteboard because it also, in the midst of our like hectic lives, because his world goes a mile a minute, my world goes a mile a minute, our minds go a mile a minute, but it helps us to kind of be like in sync in the midst of the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we love doing it with our teams, you know. So, yeah, I think if you have those visualization, you know, writing it down, believing in it, writing it down and speaking life into it, those things work, you know, and they have worked. And then obviously, you know, I'm a spiritual person, so I believe in praying over what I'm trying to accomplish. It's really significant and it's a very important piece, you know, like I believe it's Habakkuk 2:2. And please forgive me if I'm misquoting it. All of the people that like have the Bible down to the T, which is one of my goals, right?
They'll tell us.
But, you know, it says, you know, write it and make it plain. You know, like it's a really, you know, or faith without works is dead. Or there's these different things that they say. Like, it's like, you know, you got to believe in the vision. You got to be clear in your vision. Like, don't be all over the place. Like, hone in on what you really want to accomplish. Like, and then go for it.
Yeah, you know, my pastor the other day said something that I was like, that's so good. Sometimes I feel a little guilty asking for like material things or stuff in life, right? And he was like, who are you to think that God is so small that he can't handle that and everything else? And I was like, I don't know, but I feel that, you know? Yeah. So is there, I love that you're talking about faith. I think it's like we were talking about it before. It's having like a little bit of a resurgence. Like it's okay to talk about it publicly. I feel like for a while it wasn't so public. But I'm curious for you, like, how do you integrate faith into what you do? Your husband and you are both faith-based from what I can understand. And what does even praying over it look like to you? Oh, man.
You have to have faith because you're going to be tested. Right. You're going to be challenged. You're going to fall, right? And when you fall, what do you go to? Like, what is your, like, you know, what do you fall back on? Like, what helps you to get back up? It's your faith. Like, it's the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And for me, I'm always looking towards the light. And even if I have a moment where I have to pause and regather myself, I'm sincerely, I really mean what I'm saying. I'm not even saying it just to say it. Like, I always see the light at the end of the tunnel. My philosophy is also too, like, the sun is shining no matter where I am. Like, you hear people talk about like the weather and they're like, you know, they're living in Seattle. They're like, it's always so good. I'm like, listen, the sun is always shining no matter where I'm. Like, that's my mentality. Right? But you have to see the light because, again, it goes back to that passion, right? Your passion is going to drive you. But man, when it gets tough and you're like, can this really happen? Like, this feels impossible. This feels insurmountable. Like, I got to stand on something. And my faith is the truest thing. It's the one thing that also gives me peace. It's the one thing that makes my weight or the heaviness of things feel lighter because it allows me to believe again. It allows me to, like, you know, reinstill my hope, like to get things where they need to be and just to stay the course.
Yeah.
So I picked up my phone because there was this thing I looked up about faith the other day. Faith strengthens us during trials. Because we live in a sinful, fallen world, we will face difficulties, but our faith is what helps us remain strong during hard times. We have an enemy, and it's our faith that acts as a shield to protect us from his schemes and plots. Above all, taking the shield of faith, which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, Ephesians 6:16. It says, we should not be surprised when our faith is tested. James 2:3 says that the testing of your faith, I love this one. I can just say it without looking because it's one of my favorite scriptures, but the testing of your faith produces perseverance so that you may be mature and not lacking, right? Good. And it says before that, to consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, for the testing of your faith produces perseverance. So you will be mature and not lacking, right? That's the whole. But think about that ability to consider it pure joy when you're in the toughest part of your life or feels like the toughest part. To have faith, to be able to smile through it all. Oof. what a feeling. I remember having like a really hard time, like, it was some years ago. And this is a scripture that Russ and we love. It's one of our favorite ones. And I remember him saying it to me, and it was almost like a weight was lifted because it was a reminder, like, there's going to be something so good. There is some gold in this valley.
This moment. There
is something that's going to be so good that's going to come out of this. And I've just got to like stay the course, like keep my faith. So, yeah.
Is that ever hard to have faith like that in Hollywood? I mean, I'm such an outsider, but people say so many things about the place and how crazy the music world is.
World. It's really interesting. I will say this. I believe that my spiritual foundation is really important. And I think if I went to school, I'd be a psychologist, I swear.
Ooh.
Like, there's something that I'm really fascinated with about how the mind thinks and processes. And I do think that in our industry, it can be a very dark world because oftentimes people are finding themselves, one, you got to be mindful, don't glorify man and things. We are in an industry that makes you, kind of pushes you to do that. Like, you look at others and they may be way ahead of you and you're like, I want their life, or, awards, like you feel like that's the high point, like all these tangible things that you can't even take with you anyways, right? But people sometimes, like in the Bible, it also says, what good is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? You can have everything and have nothing. And I feel like that's a more commonality in my industry than not. Yeah. And I think the examples of that is in, when people, like I was reading something about, I want to be mindful because I don't want to feel like I'm calling someone out, but someone, an actor who was massive, like he's living homeless at this moment. He went through some tough times. And then you see another moment where someone's kind of like, you can see them mentally battling things, like all these different scenarios. And like, it's real, and you can help want to pray for people. But it's like, man, like you just pray for God's protection, right? I'm like, we got to have a foundation of, for me, God and Jesus are important for me, faith, all those things. You have to. And then like run your own race at your own pace, like don't be distracted by what's happening to the right and left of you. Like if someone's having a successful moment and they feel like you work harder than them and like, why am I not there? Like, don't even question it. Like your journey of success is perfectly designed for you. Your big moment's going to happen for you when it's supposed to happen for you. So celebrate those moments, like change that energy, flip it. Don't be jealous, of it. Like actually celebrate those individuals, give them a pat on the back, like, all those things. And just like be good with where you are, right?
It's so true and hard to do, but so true.
Yeah.
But you've seen the full spectrum. You've gone through tons of cycles. I'm sure has there ever been a moment where you got like, you felt like the whole internet hated you? Like you got a ton of hate? Really?
Yeah. For sure.
It's like every Tuesday. I know it's
hard.
No,
I mean, listen, I don't know what one great that hasn't, reached some of the highest points, that hasn't been told they can't or hasn't been tried to be knocked down. And that's a part of the process. And again, I think those moments, like they make you more bulletproof. Because I'll be darned if I let a human tell me what I can and can't be. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, you can try and write it all kind of ways. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll be taking names. I'll be taking screenshots because I'll be like, I'm gonna run this back when I go platinum again, like, oh, remember, like, okay, noted. Sometimes I actually do that. I might need to share a couple of names. I was playing. No, but
let's do it.
Yeah,
I do it too.
No.
Like there's something about a chip on your shoulder.
Well,
I keep a name.
Yeah.
I had a guy tell me, I hope one day you get more followers because you dumbed down the firm today. Like I remember the exact sentence.
Wait, what?
And I screenshotted that shit. I have it to this day. Sometimes because I'm real low, I'll have the audience go, F you, Dan. I wish I was better. I am trying, God. But it also fuels me.
Oh my gosh,
so
yeah.
It makes me feel better that you sometimes keep names too.
No, I do. I do. I don't want to spend too much weight on those people, but I do. And I think, you use it as motivation, like it lets you know, like, they say that, or Russ is a line he would say, the greater you great, the more they hate. Like it lets you know that you're doing something right, that they have something to say, right? You know, it's like, okay, I'm making you feel some kind of way. Let me stay the course.
Let's talk about like love and relationships a little bit. Like, not only have you had this big successful career, and I know that every relationship has got its things, and I'm very happily married and he's incredible, but we fight. We just try to fight fairly if we can.
Yeah. Fights are healthy sometimes.
I think so. At least we need. I'm Spanish. He's Greek. We're crazy.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, yeah, we're not docile. But you know, now you have this beautiful partnership. What is some of the things you do? Some of the secrets that you have? How do you stay grounded and happily married in a world that is chaotic and a crazy career too?
Yeah, I think, well, we always say, we said it since day one we got engaged. It was actually part of the first conversation we had after he proposed to me. It's like we say having Jesus at the center. Having a spiritual foundation is really important because, you know, what is it? Like lean out on your own understanding. Sometimes when we put the matters into our hands, it gets real tricky, you know. But I would say communication, man. Sometimes you have to have hard communication moments. And I do believe that, you know, at least historically for us, whenever we've had a conversation where it's like, okay, this is a big conversation, so many good things have come out of it, right? And we've grown together through those moments. So you can't be afraid to talk about the stuff that makes you uncomfortable. You know, communication rules the nation. I've always said that. And we really believe in doing that, you know? And so I think that's important.
How did you decide that he was your dude?
I knew.
Right away?
Yeah, they say when you know, you know. It's funny because he and I, when we were talking the first night in person, is a really unique situation, you know, because my dad was actually at my house and my firstborn was at my house too. And, you know, I said, you know, well, we were meeting up as friends, you know, and he's like, I wasn't meeting up just to be no friends, you know. We joke about, we laugh about that. Yeah. No, but it was, you know, more so than anything because in this world that we live in, unfortunately, when you step outside, like normal people would when you're dating, if someone sees you, they preset things for you, you know, and so you want to protect that and give yourself a chance to really get to know each other. So when we were talking, you know, in person for the first time, we literally forgot to eat, right? We were supposed to eat at some point, and he had a meeting actually, and then I needed to get my food. We talked about a restaurant that we liked in the conversation. But anyways, we chatted, you know, for hours. And, you know, when we were talking, I'm like, he's different. And the initial conversation that we had felt like no initial conversation I ever had in my life. And I remember calling my best friend and makeup artist, Yolanda Frederick Thompson. I called her and I said, Yoli, I was like, I don't want to jinx anything. I was like, but I think, and I didn't even want to say it. And she said, he's the one. And I go, yes. Oh. And the same thing for him when he was talking to his friend, you know, after we were together, he said the same thing, right? But you just know, when you know, you know. It's a feeling, you can't fully describe it, but you know the difference. And so that's my story. Yeah.
I felt the same way with my husband.
You did?
Yeah, totally. Well, we've known each other since we were 11. So I guess when I first met him, when I was 11, I wasn't feeling that way. But we like reconnected later in life. He stayed friends with my dad. They're very close. Wow. But our first date was 3 days, which is crazy because we went to a music festival. And then 3 weeks later, we moved in together. And
so wait, how did you guys, okay, you're friends, but when you reconnected, the energy was like, we're connecting on some other stuff. Okay, because I'm like, how y'all just turned to like, we're going to go on some dates? Like, okay. Yeah. So wait, then what happened? You said you moved in when?
3 weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
Which
so
is
it's crazy.
Unhinged. I'm like not that unhinged.
How long have you guys been married for?
We've been married for 7 years.
So
and been together for 10. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're going on year 10 of being married.
Congratulations. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's funny because, thank you. We always say we were hanging out ever since we met. So, you know, shortly after that, I'm living in Seattle and now here we are.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What do you think? I mean, I know it's always tricky giving relationship advice, but like it seems like lot of statistics. People are getting married less than ever. They're finding less love, having less sex. And you could feel a certain way about those things. But I think there are a lot of people out there that are like looking for their person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you tell a young woman or a not so young woman like about how to find their person or how to be a type of person that attracts your person?
Well, see, I think it goes back to some of that stuff I was saying earlier about manifestation and speaking life, and I think there's also the take care of self phase. That's important for us, right? Like we have to, I think, love on ourselves first so we can be like good with self, right? And we don't want to be in a place where love is what makes us complete. Like, right? Love is a cherry on top, right? Now there is, a saying in the Bible about without love, like you have nothing. So now, you want to move from a place of love, like, you would say God is love, but yeah, I think that you want to be right with yourself first, right? Like, go out yourself sometimes. Like, it's okay to eat by yourself. Like, it's okay to be by yourself. Like, we have to embrace the self phase first, I think. And then I think that you have to, like, visualize what you want to attract in your life, right? What do you not want? What does he or she look like to you? How do they love on you? Like, how do they love on themselves? How do they love the people around them? Do they make the room better? Like, you start to visualize all these things. And I do believe that there's power in that because you know what I do think we do sometimes? When you lawfully throw in the air that I want love, but you don't define it, you will get that. But then when you put in the air, like, I want love, but under these conditions, or it looks like this, like it feels like this, like it makes me feel like this. Like you start to like have this thing to where it's like when you see it, you go, that's it. Yeah. But you're not able to see it if you don't define it.
It's so true.
Right?
It's like trying to explain a zebra to somebody who's never seen it. You're like, but once you've seen it, you're like, stripes, black and white,
that's exactly
broke
it.
donkey. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, what's interesting about your relationship, if you guys have built businesses together. So we have one of your businesses right here, which we haven't even tried yet. I can't believe you made me coquitos.
I made you coquito. I have to shout out Tony Chapman, the chef, because she taught me how to make this for the first time.
No way.
And when I tell you, I could not stop going back. No, for real. Because you can like get lit because it tastes so good.
I had to be hammered by the end of this podcast.
But it's a fun holiday drink.
Thank you.
So
this is lovely. And this is your rum.
10 to 1 rum. I'll tell you a little bit after the first sip.
This is delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Also, I feel kind of fancy. You just stick this cinnamon stick in here. I'm into things that are fancy but super easy. You know what I mean?
Pops of detail.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not complicated.
No.
Some coconut, condensed milk. We have our white rum and our dark rum. And I'll just tell you, there's 0 sugars in our rum. We want people to reimagine rum, right? Look at rum in a way that you've never seen it before. Get out of the colonial, got to make it in pina colada, strawberry daiquiris only.
Yeah.
Rum can play. We say that any other spirit, anything you can do, rum can do better. Just facts. But no, seriously, like you can have so much fun with rum. So like, for example, you're Latina. And we like margaritas. I said we, because I'm Mexican. I'm Mexican, okay? Black and Mexican.
I've never heard that before.
Yes,
I love that.
Black and Mexican. But I love a margarita, but I take the rum, I call it a rumarita. Yeah. So you do the white rum in place of the tequila.
That's hot.
Yes, but you can have fun. Like you can have so much fun and play. And that's been an amazing discovery for me on the journey of rum and sharing my story. That was the first drink I ever had in my life was rum at 21. And so it's a real thing for
21?
Me. Yeah, first time.
You never had a drink before 21?
Never.
Good for you.
I accidentally sipped some gin in my mom's fridge. I thought it was water.
That sounds awful.
That's
not okay.
I spit that thing out so fast, but my first drink, official, like, this is what I'm doing, was 21.
That's wild. I was not as good as you. I had a few cocktails.
Well, you're Latina, so I start early.
I'm going to blame it on
I'm
that.
Mexican, so I understand.
But also you speak Spanish. Actually, I heard a funny thing about you. I heard you can do all the accents.
Yeah, kind of. I can. I play around.
What's
I think
your
it's the
favorite
military baby in me.
Oh, that's probably part of it. Well, plus you're an entertainer. Like even the way you say sentences is interesting because they're thoughtful. Like you said a thing, 2 ways. One, I want to hear your favorite accent.
This is so good.
Dude, I'm telling you.
My favorite accent is Latin, is Mexican. Come on.
Okay,
or Spanish.
What's the best accent?
Hola, me llamo Ciara. Yo no espero. Estoy muy agradecida para hoy. para el día.
Nailing it.
Y yo, sí, yeah. Yo estoy muy agradecida.
Oh, I'm happy to have you too.
Sí.
I want to tell
and
you,
then-
I hear
oh.
you can do a crazy Steph
Oh
impression.
my gosh.
I think we should
Steph,
embarrass her.
She's like, girl, I don't know if I'm going to be up in there like that because we ain't going to be doing that interview if they talking crazy. We ain't doing it. I'm telling them right now. I'm going to call them up. Watch this. You know, I'm from Decatur, Georgia, so
You nailed that. People
I'm a
don't know
Southern
her, but
girl.
like I'm a little bit crying.
no, she will. That's that voice, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to
100%.
tell him we ain't calling his ass.
Oh my God. She
I'ma
told me
call
this
him
one
right back.
story about like throwing a shoe. And she was like, I can't do accents. But
Yeah.
she was like, I told them, if you throw a shoe at me, you better knock me out.
That's
'cause
exactly
I'm coming at you.
Exactly.
I was
She
like,
said, she's like, I'm a chihuahua. She said something crazy about being a chihuahua in a pit bull's body or something she said that was crazy. A pit bull in a chihuahua's body or something. And I was like, and the pit bull always wins. You know, it's something about the tiny ones. They're just so big. But
you know
I
what?
am
Shout
obsessed.
out to the tiny ones.
Shout out to the tiny ones, yes. But I am obsessed with like, you know, languages. So like my biggest thing is when I travel, I like to, it's kind of my way of showing respect and appreciation to that region or that country. And I love being able to always say like, hi and bye and thank you. So if I go to Japan, I say, Choto nihongo hanashimasu. Watashi no namae wa Asera desu. Hi. You know, arigatou gozaimashita. Toire wa doko desu ka? Like, I'm really big on like knowing, you know, how to communicate, how to get around. And my biggest thing is to ask how to do it. So if I want to learn, because I'm like a little obsessed with learning languages. And so if I want to say in Japanese, how do you say? I say, nante uno. Nante uno water. Nante uno, where's the bathroom? You know, and they'll say, toire wa doko desu ka? Or like, so I do that. Or in Spanish, como se dice I love you? Or como se dice, you know, which we know, te amo mucho. Or, you know, but I'll say that. Or, you know, if I'm in France, I would say, bonjour, je m'appelle Ciara. Comment allez-vous? Ça va bien, et toi? Au plaisir de vous voir. Like I always would say that to my fans, like it's so nice to meet you, you know, merci beaucoup. Or if I go to China, it's ni hao, xie xie, you know, bukachi. Like I love doing that, you know. And my dad was in the Army, my mother was in the Air Force. So it's a military baby in me that's like kind of obsessed, you know.
So do you like go out on the stage and you'd say their language too?
Yeah, so if I'm in
sick,
Japan, I say
actually.
Migi Hidaidi.
Oh, I
you
bet
know,
they
like
lose
right
it.
side. Oh yeah, undo bouge in French is 1-2 step. I remember back in the days, I would do that.
I love that.
And then if I'm in London, I would say, darling, how are you? You're right. Are you lovely? It's lovely to see you. You know, I'm going apples and pears to get some Rosie Lee. It's like good, isn't it? Is it like all right? I'm like, so amazing, right? Yeah. But whatever. I love to do, you know, it's fun. It's really fun. And I'm going to tell you, talk about being determined. I wanted to learn how to speak with an English accent so bad. And listen, I am not perfect, okay, with it, but I do my best. But I had to audition for a movie. It was a big movie. And I had to speak with an English accent. And I went to go and audition for it. And literally in the... I had like 3 days to learn how to speak with an English accent. And I had been trying to do it anyways. It was so bad. I pray no one ever sees that tape. But I was like, I've got a baby in me tummy. And I'm like, I've got to like, it was worse than that. You know, because I really couldn't get like and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. Like I was so determined. You know,
good for you.
Yeah.
My husband says they all sound like a Mexican Russian, which is not really good. That's not a good combo.
So, you sound like a Mexican
Yeah,
Russian?
when I do my accents, they all just like converge
Oh my gosh.
to the mixture
Hilarious.
of the two. It's not good. But I do think, you know, I think there's something really beautiful about this like curiosity, you know, like you continue. Your bio is so fascinating. Like we talked about 10-1 a little bit, which I hear is like one of the most awarded rums out there. I had no idea, by the way. And then you also have Third Brand, which is
3 Brand.
3 Brand. And 3 Brand Children's Apparel Company. Is it public that you did $100 million in revenue in 2024? Can we say that?
Yeah, you can.
That's wild.
Yeah, we've been
These
very,
are big
very
businesses.
blessed. Yeah, you know, I got to say it's been an incredible journey. I think especially like you mentioned, doing everything together, talk about a why not you attitude, because we obviously have our why not you foundation. And we're just big believers in once we believe in something or we set out to do something, most importantly, being connected, genuinely connected to what we do, right, is important. Like you got to have that authenticity factor. And so 10 to 1 rum, as I mentioned, was a genuine spirit for me that I, love since day one. And I love the challenge of, getting people to understand the beauty of rum. And with 3 brand, Russ that's really his jam. We talk about sports, music, and fashion, the 3, three of the most powerful forces, in the world, and the power of what happens when they come together. And when you get to do it through youth, the youth is really important to us. We really love being able to speak life into the youth with the why not you mentality. When it comes to fashion, it's a fun place to play in and a fun place to activate in. We obviously have our kids, family is really important to us. And we get to share, our passion and pour our passion and love into the brand, to 3 brand as a whole. And it's a gift, when you say those numbers for just 2024 alone. We've been on this journey for like almost 3 years, so you can multiply that by 3, right? Which is a blessing. And so, it's not ultimately about that. It's really about the ability to impact. That's our ultimate goal. We love being able to impact and inspire kids in such a great way. And there's nothing better than doing it through fashion. So it's been a fun journey. And it's the coolest thing, when we're taking our kids to school and you see other kids wearing 3 brand, it's like, hey, like Russ was like saying to your dad, it's like, hey, that's my brand, and it's the cutest thing. It makes you feel proud. It makes you feel motivated. And, we've got some exciting things happening for the brand, and it's really just getting started.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's fascinating about you is like, obviously your songs are huge and you've done all these brand deals, but it feels like from a business perspective, you're starting to talk about business even more now with the podcast that you have or the show that you have.
Oh, Apple Radio, Level Up Radio on Apple Music.
There you go. And I think it's really cool because I don't even know that, we've all known you. I remember when your first album came out, we've like known you publicly for a long time. But even when I was prepping for this, I was like, holy hell, she's done so much more than I realized. Like, what do you think is one of your like business superpowers? Like, why is 3 brand $100 million? Like, what are the things you're like, we're so good at culture here, or we think about the design this way that nobody else does? Like, what is that for you, do you think, in some of these brands?
I think it goes back to quality. Quality is everything. You can talk a good game all day, but it comes down to how well does the item perform. I think that we do really great at quality when it comes to our products and the things that we associate ourselves with. I think
has to be hard, right? Because you're getting pitched a billion things a day.
Yeah, it is. But, fortunately, a lot of the things that we've been doing, we've actually kind of started them, and then there's like investment opportunities that you do. And that's like kind of gambling a little bit. You're taking a risk and those, it's great when it works.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that a lot of the brands that we're focused on right now are ones that have come directly from us to some extent. 10 to 1, actually, my partner, Mark Farrell, I met him a year after he got going with 10 to 1. It was in the middle of the pandemic. And I was pregnant as all get out. And then I also breastfed for 10 months long enough. And it was time for me to celebrate that moment. And I had a mojito with the white rum, the 10 to 1 white rum. And again, I had already had my passion about rum, but I was really curious about this brand. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then I met my partner, and then, now we're 5 years in the journey, and I serve as an investor and a proud co-founder and co-owner. And but it goes back to quality and the people too. People are everything. And then culture. I think culture is really key. When we think about like the challenges, or not even just the challenges, but like the fun parts of like 10 to 1, like the culture of people that we get to engage with. I get to work with some of the best chefs in the world. Like I was with Chef Kwame, and we're actually in all of his restaurants, 10 to 1 is. And, people like him, or, Tony, as I mentioned to Tony Chapman, and, all these talented people, we get to like engage with people culturally. There's that Afro-Caribbean energy that's really coming strong. And like, that's a big part of like our energy too, the Caribbean piece of it. So culture is everything. And then, the places that we get to go to on the ground and how we get to touch and activate with people. And then when it comes to 3 brand in particular, again, it goes back to culture too, right? There's this sports energy. And as I mentioned, sports, music, and fashion, like those are all big pieces of Russ and I, right? So we get to we do this every day, right? And we get to bring it all together. And community is really important for us, right? So I feel like that's another aspect that we really, I would say, tap into really well and are very connected with because we love the people.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about partnerships in varying ways.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of people want your time and attention. So how do you determine, hey, I want to partner with this person.
Passion.
I want this person in my life. What's the screen?
Oh, the person, when it comes to people, you have to connect, I think it's important that your vision, your how you see things, how you connect to things, like it has to be aligned, right? And what's a person's vision, and can they add value, right? You want to be around people that can bring even more than you can at times, right? That you can grow with, you can learn from. I don't want to be the person with all the answers. I think if that's the case, then we're in trouble, right? Because I definitely don't know all the answers. I need help, So you want to be surrounded by like-minded individuals. You want to be around people that, share the same vision as you. And maybe it's people that have already been there before. Yeah. So they can pass down their wisdom. That's my greatest goal right now at this point in my career is I want to work smarter, not harder. And also being a mom and being there for Russ. I say I have my 4 babies, and Russ is my biggest one. Okay? You already know. Okay?
I do.
Our men they be babies. They be babying. But, so that's a real thing, right? Yep. So it's how do I work smarter and not harder at this point in my life and in my career?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I made that mistake so many times early on in my career. I would partner with somebody who hadn't figured anything out yet.
Yeah.
And then I would work harder than them. Or they wouldn't, I'm sure with you, it's got to happen. They're I see her, I want to be associated with all that. Let me get on that coat train,
Yeah.
And at some point we just realized we're not going to partner with somebody who hasn't already shown the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, I think. So you got to show that you're winning. You got to show that you want to work harder than I do because there's so many people that don't. And I think a lot of times with partnerships, we buy into them in the same way we buy into somebody's potential. And so we're no, I'll fix him.
Yeah.
How many of us have said that? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really interesting. So have you, with a mark, if somebody's trying to figure out their avatar of all right, how do I trust somebody, which is so big today?
Yeah.
How are you here's what I ask them, here's what I do, or here's how I knew?
Yeah. I mean, trust, I think you build over time. I don't think I'll ever trust someone from day one.
Yes.
I think trust is earned. And I can smell very early if I should trust or not trust someone. I can tell you this. I can tell you on day one if I can't trust you.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. I'm very pretty good with that. I got a good gut. That's the gift that women have. Women have the gift of intuition that is crazy.
Yeah.
It's
a
gift.
Us shove it down, right? You don't.
Sometimes you do.
To it?
No. Sometimes people can, but no. I think when you've bumped your head a few times, you just know better, right? And then sometimes too, you do like to give grace. Grace is important. But the moment you show me that I can't give you the grace or the grace pass should be revoked, I'm revoking it.
No second chances.
We ain't even playing with it.
It's actually smart. There's too many people. There's billions of people on this planet. They can go try with somebody else.
Yeah, no, 100.
Over there.
Exactly. You keep that over there. But no, I think back to your point, people, too, I think history is great. For example, my partner, Mark, he was the youngest vice president at Starbucks, right, before he started 10 to 1. And Howard Schultz was actually our first investor.
Oh, that's a great sign.
On the journey, right? And we have some amazing people at the party that are supporting us along the way. But I think, he also went to Harvard and he had a great educational background, but also too just his experience within the space and also his education within the space. And, also, again, it came back to the product. The product says a lot. People can talk a good game, but what's the product doing, right?
Yep.
So there's all these different things that you check off the box to make sure, your foundation is going to be a strong one and that you feel confident in the tools that you have to get going on things. And then time tells you everything, right? So yeah, I think the person that walks into the room is really important in anything that you do. Like, who are they as a human? First and foremost, right? Because you want to work with good humans, right? You really do. Because I think it makes it worthwhile when the times are tough and you have to come together and grind together. Like, it's not easy, right? Like grinding for 10 to 1, it's not easy. Because again, rum is a category that's like still telling a story, right? Tequila and vodkas and gins, they're already like,
That's a good point.
they've already like done it. Rum is still doing it, which is exciting because there's so much opportunity and there's not many of us ladies in this category.
Zero. Yeah, I don't know one.
Which is
I'm
exciting.
sure there are some, but that is exciting.
So
I love being a first.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And what's interesting is like you have all of these practices now, it seems like, that you do every day. And these things that have led you to be the person that you are today. What are some of the things that if you knew them when you were 20, that you know now, would you tell like, God, I wish 20-year-old Sierra would have done this every day?
Just be patient. That's the greatest thing is like, that's why I say run your race at your own pace, because what life has shown me, like 21 years later, right? I am, and I would say a little bit before 21 years later, after Goodies came out. But I remember, being signed to the systems and like, wanting to do certain things or achieve certain things. I'm like, when are they going to happen? Like, and I was very blessed. A lot of my songs were really big out the gate. But still, you could have that big hit record, but then you're like, and then what? And then like, I'm missing this. I still feel like I'm missing this, and this. Yeah. But it's taken me 21 years to now start having certain things like happen for me how I've always wanted them to. So it just shows me like the power of patience. Like, there's a saying where they say like a parent would be like, patience is a virtue. They would say that when you're young, like, what is that? What does that even mean? Patience is a virtue. It's like, I'm trying to get to page. I bump the virtue stuff. Like, this is what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
But, when you understand life and the way that it goes, it's all going to work itself out. And you got to trust the process. Like, you've got to keep your faith, right? So, but if I could, think back to when I was younger, I would just say the patience factor, and I would also remind myself, like, again, don't glorify man. Yeah, don't glorify the things on this earth, because some of the people that I looked up to that were like, I thought the coolest and the biggest ever, they've had their own journey. I don't want to speak negatively on anyone, but it's like everything's not what you think it is, So like just worry about you.
Yeah.
Worry about you,
You have had a bunch of like new albums come out, obviously. They're crushing. Level Up, does it ever happen to you where like you hear a song and you don't realize it's yours? Like Level Up, I didn't even realize was a Sierra song and I was like singing it. And then, but as you're creating today, what does that look like? Like if you want to tap into the muse, if you want to find it, if you want to get your creative juices, what do you do? Is there a process?
Well, it depends on what I'm doing. Musically, it's so funny. I'm actually like really in my Afro diaspora bag right now. And so I kind of like to let life take me wherever it takes me when I'm making music. The cool thing about music is that it's a feeling. It's nothing technical. So that's the place I'm playing in. Like I have my song Nice and Sweet with Molly and Oxley that I just put out. Yeah. Molly's from Ghana. Yes. Hey, hit it.
I'm not dancing next to you.
That was good. Okay. Molly's from Ghana. Oxley's from Nigeria. And then my friend, also Diamond Platinum's on my song Low. He's from Tanzania. I just recently went to Benin, Cotonou, and I got to get my dual citizenship. I got my passport, the first international artist or American artist or any person to participate in this new program that they had that His Excellency President Talon granted me the opportunity to have there. And I'm just deeply connected to that place right now, this place right now. So I'm living in that moment, right? Yeah. And I think that when you're like committed to a creative direction, you start to delve deeper into things it's just fun to you, and it just naturally like takes you there. But I think I let life like kind of tell me where I want to go. And then there's also sonic connection. You know, I can hear sounds or hear a song and be obsessed with, like, I do know where I want to go next right now in my mind. Right now I'm here, but I know what I want to do next. And it may take me a second to just chill and do it. Like, I'm not going to rush it. But I'm also not going to take forever either, you know? But I just go with like what feels, how I feel. Music is a feeling. It's not technical.
I love that. So you're kind of like following your curiosity down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Follow my curiosity, you know, going where the music takes me. Yeah, you just flow with it, you know? But you do, oftentimes when you go in to make music, you do have some kind of ideal direction because that's what leads you to the producers you want to work with and the writers you want to work with. So you do typically have a creative base. But then there's this thing that when you start to create, then the magic really happens when you just let it happen, right? But you have some kind of like baseline foundation of where you want to start from.
Love that. Question for me and for nobody listening is like the abs. What are we doing?
First of all, let me tell you, you're so sweet because my abs do not be abbing. Let me tell you why I say that, okay? Okay, listen. I say this because I've had my 4 precious baby, as we all know, and they gave me something called diastasis recti, okay? Some people say diastasis recti or whatever it is, but my ab wall is like kaputs. Wow. So my abs will never be the same, okay? Now, do I work hard to get down and like back to my base weight? I do. I have not gotten back down all the way after my last baby, Amora, and she's almost 2. But I'm giving myself some grace, okay?
You look so good.
I really appreciate that. You know, Russ, he's like, babe, now, whatever you're doing, don't get too crazy because he likes a little hips to grip, okay?
I know, my husband too.
Yeah,
it's us
I don't
women.
mind
We're
it.
the hard part
No,
on us.
let me tell you something. I was looking at something. I said, now, where did that don't come from? Because I've been praying for this all my life. Praying for that dog. The babies gave me something, you know. So I'm like, I'm going to hold on for as long as I can hold on, you know. But your babies do give you some hips. They give you a little bit more, you know, a little bit more than you want sometimes. You know, but I it's funny because I'm actually going to really like dive into trying to train my core even better. It's a thing. I'm literally holding on for dear life sometimes because the diastasis makes your belly like push, like the instinct is for it to go out versus like in. Any mom or woman knows. Yeah, so you're like, it's an extra second for the carpet. So it's like,
oh yeah,
keep it together.
I always like that.
Breathe.
I always like that Jamie Lee Curtis thing where she's like, I've been holding my abs in for 30 years. I'm done. She's like, no more. No, not 30 years. I'm out.
Listen, I be baggy because I just be like, I ain't got time for this every day. Now, when I want to get snatched, then I get ready. Like I may eat like different. Like I'm doing a red carpet tomorrow, so today I'm kind of going no carbs. You know, like, so I'll be strategic. Oh yeah, now this, the coquitos está bien. See?
Doesn't count.
See, it's all right.
Well, you're friends with Ashley Graham too, right?
Yes.
So she has some award show tonight that I'm going to with her. And I told her, I was like, I'm feeling a little, I call it fluffy. Like I'm feeling a little fluffy lately.
Yeah.
And so I bought a dress specifically because it could wrangle it in the midsection. But I love her because she doesn't give a fuck.
No, she's like, amazing.
No, we have another doctor friend who's like trying to like, hey, I want you to do, and Ashley's like, if you try to make me skinny, she's like, no GLP-1s. I'm not into it. And I'm like, I'm over here thinking I would take a GLP-1 if I trusted it, you know?
I don't even know what that is, but
that's like, what are those, what's it called? The thing that's making everybody skinny in
Hollywood.
It's, there's another word for it.
What is that thing called?
Ozempic.
What? Oh,
this
yeah.
Is Steph
I'm like, what is it?
Ozempic.
I don't hate
that. Yeah, exactly. So we'll just stay a little thick.
Listen, man, to each his own. I think the greatest thing is we just have to embrace the journey, honestly. Like, give yourself grace when you need. Like, you know, I think that's been probably one of the best things I could have given myself along the way in the journey of motherhood is grace. You know, because you have to, like, when I say to you, life be lifing, it be turned up, you know, being a mom of multiple kids and, you know, managing all the personalities. You know, I was like saying the other day, I'm like, maybe it's called a mama pist. You know, there's a therapist and there's a mama pist because I'm just telling you, like, everybody's got a different story. Every kid has a different story. They're walking TV stations and they have their own programming. And it's like, who we gonna get today? Okay, got it. Like, I'm ready for everything now, you know? But
so
grace, though. You got to
good.
give yourself grace.
I love this. Okay, I want to end on, what are you most excited for this year? We got 10 to 1. We've got maybe, what else?
So we have 3 brand, which we're super excited about our growth and just the...
What's your favorite piece of clothing from it? Like, if I'm going to go buy for my holidays right now, what do you like? You know what? I love our jerseys.
Well,
I love our...
The thing is we focus more on the youth right now. So we're not so much into the adult wear
if I'm
yet.
going to give some
Yet.
gifts to
But if you're going to give
kids?
some gifts, listen, our backpacks are amazing.
Okay, I like
Never
this.
go out of style.
Like it.
We just actually rusted this really cool gifting experience for Future's team. And, you know, I don't want to steal his thunder because I don't know what all I can reveal right now. But it was amazing to see how excited they were. And we have cool like duffels and all that stuff. So that's amazing. Our bags are awesome. The gift that keeps on giving. But just the whole clothing assortment, honestly. You have, you know, everything in there that you can need, from great sweatpant, you know, matching sweatpants to great athletic shorts and tees. There's a lot of shirts with great sayings on them and
Do you have Why
slogans
Not
like
You
Go
on them?
Time. We have
Yeah.
Level Up. We have Why Not You.
I love that.
We also have, you know, for the, not just the Giants community, we have obviously stuff in red, white, and blue, but we have stuff in all colors, right? Which is awesome. So, you know, you will have everything you need in the 3 brand shop. 3brand.com.
I love it.
Go there. But obviously 10 to 1, you know, super focused on this baby. And we are, as you mentioned earlier, proudly the fastest growing and most awarded rum. You know, again, a great story to tell. We want people to reimagine rum. So we're going to stay on the course to do that.
Can we have your recipe for coquitos?
You sure
Put
can.
it on the website.
Come on.
I
of
like
course.
this.
Tú sabes.
Yeah.
No
okay.
problema.
Okay. We'll
And
put
then
a little
also,
link in. It's really, I'm not bullshitting. It's really good.
yay, so good,
I know,
right?
that's like better than eggnog. I think I'd like switch that out.
Mix it up. I'm telling you, it's a gift that keeps on giving too. Like you give a gift to someone, like Tony was telling me, you know, we were talking about we're Boricuas when we were making it. Boricuas making coquitas. But you can like, you know, just keep on making it. Like I'm excited to make new coquita for Thanksgiving.
Oh, I love that.
I'm excited for that. And then I also have my skincare line, OAM Skin. Yeah. And OAM stands for On a Mission. I say I'm a woman of ambition on a mission to make clinical skincare simple for all. And I was a girl that used regular body wash and, you know, body lotion on my face. Like I did not give 2 cents about how I was taking care of me in that regard. And, you know, during the pandemic, again, another baby that I also had was OAM. I started building OAM. Probably the perfect muse at that point because you're in the most sensitive place of your, you know, with your skin. And so I started that journey then. My makeup artist, Yolanda, you know, if you see her, like, sorry, Yoli, I always call her out. Everyone knows this, but she does not look her age. She is like a box of like wisdom and like, it's like anything she tells me, I really should listen because if you see this woman, you're going to be like, no way.
Well, you too. Your skin's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want some of that.
Thank you. So, you know, she used to always tell me, she'd be like, did you use your eye cream? Did you use your eye cream? Like, she's just like, just stop, you know? And I'm like, maybe I should listen to her. Cause like, if you see her, like, she does all the right stuff. And so I started to like really take my skincare serious and OAM was the result of that. And, you know, I'll be very transparent. We're a baby company, right? We're in the process now of elevating, you know, our formulations, or I want to say elevating, meaning we're going to increase, we're going to level up because we're going to add more to what we currently have.
What's your favorite product?
So it's funny because we're completely sold out of my one. That's one of my favorites, which is our hydrating cleanser. We've sold out of it multiple times.
I know, some marketing.
Let me tell you, I'm about to do it right now. I'm about to get to it.
Okay.
But I bring it up because I'm so proud that we've sold out of multiple SKUs several times, and we currently have our 20% serum. And which is very special. So it's 20% vitamin C serum. And we have the way that our vitamin C is formulated is it's what we call tricipropeptide complex. So it allows the vitamin C to release in micro doses throughout the day. So your skin doesn't get irritated when you use vitamin C. And the 20% dosage is a very unique dosage. It's very potent, and it's very rare you see that amount of vitamin C in a product, but that's also another unique component. But when I tell you, it's so good. Like your skin feels it feels hydrated. You feel like it's just a great primer as well. helps to protect, correct, and prevent. And so we're really big on that. And you can get that now. That is on the site. Okay. And then we also have our brightening pads.
Too.
Yes.
So for like anybody that comments, I don't know, level up, we'll give away a bunch of your favorite products.
Yep.
And my team will buy them and take care of them. So go to YouTube.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And we have our brightening pads. And
we'll
those
give away
are
both.
amazing.
Actually, why don't you tell us your favorite beauty quote or something cute, and we'll pick one.
Favorite beauty quote?
Yeah, and I'll
for like what they have to say.
Them do it. Yeah, and then I'll send it to you, and you can pick which one you like.
Beauty quote? We don't.
Yeah.
What is a beauty quote? Like we don't have.
Like you know what I think about? It's like Marilyn Monroe was like she has so many good ones. She's like, if you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
I love that.
And then Pamela Anderson had one. She's coming into it lately. I like her a lot. She has one that's like, sex is a 3-letter word, but another way. Wait, what did she say? She's like, sexy is a 3-letter word, but it hits as hard as a 4-letter. And I was like, that's such a good one too. Like just being sexy.
Okay, so what I say actually at my company, my label is called Beauty Marks Entertainment. And I say that all the scars you get from the obstacles you face in life are your beauty marks.
Oh, that's hot. Oh, I did see that quote.
Yeah.
That's a
so
good
like
one.
Everything you've gone through, all the stuff that didn't feel so beautiful when you went through it, all those things that felt ugly to you, they always amount to something so beautiful and so much greater than you could even imagine when you're going through them. And so those things are what we call our beauty marks. And even your stretch marks, they're your beauty marks, right?
Oh, I love that.
So yeah.
Sierra, this was amazing. Thank you so much. I'm excited to try your product and give it away. And thank you for being like such a generous soul. I can't believe you like made me. Now I don't have anything for you, but thanks for the gift. Now I owe you one.
Listen, I am like starting to rock over here in this chair. It's so good.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Salut. Thank you.